Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Otts here. Monday morning, we lost to the Milwaukee Bucks yesterday, the number one team in the Eastern Conference, also pretty much the number one team in the whole entire league. Milwaukee's a good team, and we had a good showing against them. We actually competed really, really well with them, played really, really hard. Nothing to be mad about, nothing to be upset about. Nick Nurse very pleased with his team last night after the game, talking in the press conference, saying our guys fought hard. I'm really proud of them. They played really, really well against a really, really top team that's been playing at a high level for a while now, has really got their shit together. I mean, that is something you can say about the Milwaukee Bucks. Whereas, in some ways we're still figuring a couple things out, and they've had a lot of time to practice things. Sure, I may sound like I'm going to make excuses for why the Raptors lost last night, but they're valid excuses. They're valid reasons for everything that will lead to why we lost the game last night. I mean, all right, let me get your comments and I'll key off of what y'all are talking about with the game last night. But a tough loss. But, in some ways, this is one of those losses where you can't feel too bad because we really did compete with them. And, honestly, a couple of different things happened differently. We could have won this game, but it wasn't in the cards. There were certain forces and things at hand that were going to make it very difficult for us to overcome that in the fourth quarter. Space Cadet is in first today. Fourth quarter rotations kind of killed us. Milwaukee gained all the momentum and never looked back. All right, let's talk about what happened in the second half last night, because this is where things turned. In the third quarter, we actually busted the game wide open, and we ended up, because, all right, at the end of the first quarter, we were down by 2, or down by 4, I believe. And then at the half, we were down by 2. But then at the end of the third quarter, we were up by 6. And there was a really good run by the Raptors at the end of the third quarter that was magnificent. In fact, I was really happy that they were finally getting separation from the Bucks in the game, and it looked like they could maybe get a nice, maybe a double-digit lead or something like that and manage them a little bit. But this is what happened. The rotation was a little janky. In fact, I'll say one person in particular that was really kind of like screwing things up a little bit when he was out there was Will Barton. He was missing all the shots that he took, and he just didn't look right last night with us. In some ways, and it was annoying. It was very annoying. So when he was out there, we didn't look exactly right. But this is what happened at the beginning of the fourth quarter. A very concerted ref hit job happened, and it was a subtle one. It was one where Zach Zarba has done this to us before, and I've noticed him do this. He really does that weird, like, I'm turning the whistle off for you, and I'm getting a whistle for them all over the place. And that's what they did. They stymied us in the first couple minutes, the fourth quarter, and took some things away from us that they were allowing us to do the whole game. And it kind of messed us up for the fourth quarter scoring wise. We had a really hard time scoring for the rest of the fourth quarter after those issues. We got a little cold shooting wise. And then, this is the thing. Milwaukee has a very excellent defense around the rim. And that was where we were trying to go with Jakob a lot in the fourth period to try and make sure we got money baskets, like for sure high percentage baskets. But that's the thing. Brook Lopez and Giannis Antetokounmpo are very good defenders down there, good at good defense, but also good at fouling and getting away with it. And there was a lot of that going on last night where there were no calls made and called for us, and they were fouling us right near the basket. But that is what it is. That's part of it. You got to take the contact and finish through it near the basket. But the referees very much did try and control who took over and who got the run going in the fourth quarter. And that was a big factor. And then you add in second night of a back-to-back, of course, in the fourth quarter. We're going to have a hard time keeping our energy up when we played the night before, and that is normal. When you're on a second night of a back-to-back, the fourth quarter is when it shows. It showed against the Minnesota Timberwolves on Saturday night when we beat them. They got tired in the fourth quarter. Well, we got tired in the fourth quarter last night, and that added to the anemic scoring in the fourth quarter also. So, and then, boom, add in that our rookie of the year from last year gets his hand hurt early in the game, and he isn't available for a lot of the game where we need him as a key rotation minute person that we don't have now for the rest of the game. And people keep calling him Scottie fourth quarter. Well, we needed Scottie fourth quarter to a degree also to help carry water and help things happen in a good way for us in the fourth quarter. So it's a perfect storm. Once again, also, we're on the road. We're in their arena with the crowd totally against us. That there's so much to overcome for our team in this situation that, listen, it just wasn't feasible. There were a lot of different things. But listen, we put up a damn good fight, and we had our chances. And you know what? I won't say that any single one of the things that I just named were the ultimate cause of death for us to win the game last night, because honestly, it is true. We didn't execute in the last 5 minutes also. And that was a big part of the problem also. But when you don't have legs, you're tired, you're worn out, the refs are not giving you any calls, and that you're getting beat down still by Lopez and Anunoby and Portis down low. Whenever you try to do anything down there, it just gets to that point where it's just like you can't. There's not you just don't have it in you to overcome all the odds. There's so many odds stacked against you. You're on the other team's home court in front of their crowd, and they're crazy and they're rabid, and they've been sitting quietly the whole game and pensively watching the Raptors play toe-to-toe with them and actually kind of outplay them to a degree in a lot of cases for most of the game. You got the refs who are kind of like for most of the game. They're doing a couple things here and there, but then they do a fucked up thing at the beginning of the fourth, kind of mess up the rhythm, mess up the flow, and kind of give a little prop up to the Bucks to try and get back in the game. That very much happened in the first couple minutes of fourth quarter. So there's a lot of contributing factors to the outcome last night. Tom Duke is here. He has got his bags packed. He's got a clock. He's got a plane going up. He's got a plane going down. He's got a good morning. Great effort last night. So freaking close. Scottie's wrist. He's praying for Scottie's wrist. I don't know if it's his wrist or his thumb, Tom. He wears this thing on his hand. It's like a cover around his like thumb area, this part of his hand. And I feel like what happens is he's had this kind of issue for his rookie year and this year that I don't know if he gets it from dunking. I don't know if he gets it from just like trying to hold the ball and people hit your hand when trying to get the ball out of your hand. But he's had this kind of injury before, and I don't think it's something that keeps him out of the lineup too often. It's just that it's annoying, and it probably hurts, and it's probably just kind of like it's a nagging injury. But I don't think he's ever actually ripped or torn any kind of ligament. And they did do x-rays last night, and they were negative, which is good. And, I don't know what's going to happen with Scott. I think that because we have 2 days off between this game and Indiana, he's going to be fine, and that he should be able to show back up. I think that it's just maybe it felt weird last night. It could very well be mixing up with those big Bucks that, they might have hit it and agitated it a little bit. Maybe when he took that dunk in the game on Saturday night where he was in transition and he kind of looked back and he was grabbing the rim, maybe he ripped it a little bit then too. So it was maybe a little agitated already. And maybe he was playing last night with it already, kind of like not feeling well because of the Minnesota game and that dunk. I don't know when he heard it or when it happened, but he was holding it at a certain point in the first quarter last night. And you know what, Tom? I think this is something that he's dealt with a couple times, and that this isn't anything too serious. I'm praying with you, though. Fiercely saying, morning, fam. Despite the loss, I truly liked how we played hard, and I'm confident Nick Nurse will prepare schemes should we face them again, as Lopez made the difference in the fourth. Huge. Hope Scottie as well. Yes, Fiercely, yes. Yes, Lopez was annoying. Lopez was very much a force in this game, very much a big, kind of idiot. He's annoying. He is so big. And, people on Twitter and Raptors Twitter were talking about how much they hate him because I kind of hate him too a lot. He's really annoying. Listen, I know that Space Cadet's kind of knocking the rotation, but I thought that, I thought that Nick did a really, really good job. Precious did get in and did get to play early and play a lot. And it was a really good decision. You saw how he was playing Giannis, and it was really good. Like, he's perfect to play somebody like Anunoby. And that right there proves the worth of Achua, is that this guy can guard one of the best players in the league and have some pretty good results. So that, anybody who was thinking he's useless or no good after last week's DMPs, You're crazy. Because look, you saw him come in there and he actually played really solid, honestly. And Nick said so after the game. He was really proud of Precious's effort and the way he played. So you can't get mad at that. You can't get mad at that. I thought that it was really smart that he got him in early and got him in often, and he ended up getting a good chunk of minutes. That's great for confidence. And once again, it's a big opponent. And it made sense. He's just such a good matchup against the Bucks. And they like to go when they're running without Lopez out there. They can go small and Precious can play center then. And there's no problem with that. There was some of that going on last night. Now, Nick did kind of screw up by not matching the minutes of Jakob with Brook Lopez. There were a couple of stretches out there where he did not bring Yak right back in when Lopez came in, and Lopez did kill us a bit. And that was really annoying. Nick, you really needed to keep the big men mirroring each other with their minutes, because we couldn't afford even to have like a couple of minutes of no defensive presence like Jakob on Brook Lopez, because he can just do whatever he wants. He just gets down there, he muscles, and he can just do whatever he wants down there. He is so annoying. Like, this is the thing about Brook Lopez. It bugs me. He wasn't this good when he was younger. He's gotten a lot better in the years, and he was always kind of like, But now he's like, he's a good offensive player in some ways. He was the leading scorer for the game last night, the guy who had the most points overall. And I hate him. I really do. He's so annoying. He's so arrogant. It's like, you know what it is? It's like he's like a bad guy in the movie, like old like 80s movie, a high school movie, like the bully on campus. And in this case, in this scenario, he wins. And I hate that movie. Who wants to go see the movie where the big bully, ugly jerk that pushes the hero around win at the end of the movie? Nobody likes that movie. And that to me is what it is when Brook Lopez wins. He's like Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds, basically, is how I feel about it. He's like, Ogre, nerds. Oh, I don't know if y'all know that movie. I'm old. All right, let's see. Let Me Cook is here. Let Me Cook. Let's see how fair Let Me Cook is being today. We'll have to see. 16-point fourth quarter performance by the Raptors hurt big time. No doubt. That is true. Now, in all 3 games against the Bucks, y'all only lost by 8 points or less. You guys definitely can make a series with them at least competitive. There you go. I like this. This is positive from Let Me Cook, who's obviously not in our nation because he's calling us. But you know what? I'll let you cook. This is true. The 16 points in the fourth quarter, man, if we could just score a little bit more. But once again, kind of the things that I was describing, the forces at power there, the governing of the referees with the whistle at the very beginning. Zach Zarba, you are a hit job artist, and you do it in a very slick way. You're very slick at doing the hit job, and it annoys me. It's like, I don't trust you, man. I used to think you were on the up and up, but in a lot of ways, I can tell how you manipulate the game. And you did it last night. Now, a really key place you can look at how they manipulate games. Let's look at the challenges last night. 2 different challenges at 2 different times. Knicks was late, and then theirs was a little bit earlier. And, of course, they overturned in favor of them and overturned. And they really was a swing challenge, the one that Milwaukee called, because we were going to get the ball, and there was going to be a foul. And, OG had looked like, listen, the whole thing about that is, who cares if he's in the restricted area? Who cares if this is this, if he's not totally set? The thing is that Giannis used an elbow. He used a very aggressive elbow in his shoulder into him. And in some ways, that is automatically an offensive foul. It's not even about whether the guy's set. It's not even about whether he's in the restricted area or not. It's about the aggressive motion of the shoulder and arm into the chest of the defender. And as the announcer for the Bucks said, you have to allow room for the defender to slide with you. And he said it himself. But I was really shocked that they overturned that. And when they did that, I was like, who's in the replay center last night? Yeah, you guys don't even know this because I've looked it up and I do pay attention to this too. The head of the replay center last night was Ed Malloy. He traveled from Toronto last night for the game on Saturday and went to Secaucus, and he was the head ref in the Secaucus replay. So he was the one who was directing the judgments on the challenges for our game last night. And this is the thing, is like it had Ed Malloy all over it the way they came out. As far as like, okay, we're gonna screw Raptors over big time by taking this away from OG. OG should have gotten free throws instead of Giannis getting free throws. So that was messed up. And then a very similar kind of play happened near the end, and that was when Nick used his challenge. Now, that challenge was a little bit more like time is running out in the game. If I'm going to use my challenge, I might as well use it now. But it was a long shot in some ways, but it did kind of like smack of the same call from the challenge before. And they didn't consistently call it the same way. They just they went against us on both calls, no matter what. And once again, I'll blame Ed Malloy sitting in Secaucus, and also just like the shadiness of those challenges really were kind of on display in some ways. But yeah, I like that Let Me Cook saying that we could compete with them. This is actually really impressive considering our journey this season, that at this point, we're at the point where we could give the Milwaukee Bucks, the number one team in the NBA, a good run for their money. And they wouldn't want to play us for sure. There's a couple things that didn't go in our favor. Really, seriously, Scottie leaving the game really hurt us for the rest of the game. He really is one of our top premium glue, important guys that do so many good different things on the court. And in some ways, we had to bump people up in the rotation and have people play more minutes in certain places. And we should have had Scott in those minutes in those places instead. Yeah, well, thank you for the comment. Let me cook, and I appreciate it. 16 points is horrible. You know, they went from 39 in the third to 16 in the last quarter. And that's the thing. You could see Milwaukee scored 29. They outscored us by 13 at the end of the game to beat us by 7. And the thing is that very much was propped up and helped by Zach Zarba, Natalie Sago. I won't say Trey Maddox. Trey Maddox was pretty good for the most part. Natalie Sago actually gave us a couple of calls last night, and I was happy with that. I was like, "You go, Natalie! Thank you, Natalie! Thank you." When I say thank you to a ref, that means they did something nice for us. And I did say thank you to Natalie a couple times last night because she did give us some calls. Cool Cat saying, "Good morning, Raptor Free Crew. We look good against the number one team in the East. We just need a bench to support our core 6, and we will be good next year." Yeah, I think that's part of it. That can definitely help us improve for next year, upgrading or getting more firepower off the bench. I really do think 3-point shooting is something that we could really improve on this team just by getting somebody even better. I wish Will Barton could have made some of his shots last night. He was really set up to have a game that could really help us and blow up, but he was 0 for 6. Really, really annoying. All right, let me do the 3 stars of the game for me. Fred VanVleet was fantastic. You know, Freddie's so funny. You know, listen, how can you not love Fred? Did you see how he broke down Giannis Antetokounmpo and made that floater teardrop bank high off the glass over his extended arms? This is the thing. This is such a special guy. Fred is how tall and how talented is Giannis? He's an NBA golden boy. He's a guy who is like the NBA wants to be so incredible and build his legend of MVPs and championships and things like that. Well, Fred's an undrafted guy who came from nowhere that made himself into somebody in the NBA. And I just love the symbolism of that undrafted badass breaking Giannis down in the lane and hitting a shot over him. You cooked him, Fred. You cooked Giannis just like I would cook a microwave dinner in the other room, in the microwave in the kitchen. Yeah, you cooked him. And I appreciate that so much. In fact, it was fine art to me. I put that on, like, if we have these EFTs or whatever they're fucking called, you know, these little electronic things you can keep and whatever. I want that one. I want that one of you scoring over Giannis last night. That was so beautiful. That was a beautiful play. It's just like Thad Young breaking Joel Embiid's knees at the playoff game last year when he crossed him over and he fell over like a wet rag. Yeah, that's that kind of moment. Seriously, when Fred crossed up, messed up, cooked Giannis Antetokounmpo. What a great day. I love Greek food. Cook him up good. Yeah, souvlaki. Yeah. But yeah, Fred, you get the first star. Partly because of that. It's not that he shot super efficient, but he wasn't bad. 23 points, 11 assists, 1 steal, 4 rebounds, 9 of 21 from the field. He was a +3. And the plus minuses are very kind of telling in a weird way on the Raptors this morning. There's not many players that are plus, but I'll tell you the three players that are plus were Fred, Gary, and Precious. In fact, Precious had the best plus minus of all the Raptors last night, a +7. Now, the minus ones are really interesting too and weird. Now, my second star of the game is OG Anunoby. He was fantastic. Once again, very, very efficient. 4 of 5 from 3. You got to love that. 8 of 12 overall. Made both his free throws. 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, 22 points, and only a -1. You know, OG was fantastic. And OG's just fun to watch. He's dunking. He's trying to get dunks. He's just all over the place. He's just a badass. We really appreciate OG. In fact, a lot of it's interesting. He had those 4 3-pointers, but then he not only had 3-pointers, he had a couple of shots where he was going inside and getting mid-range shots last night. And I really love seeing that part of his game where he'd dribble in a little bit and spot up and shoot like a little bit, like maybe 15-footer, something like that. And he was going to that a bit last night, which was very interesting because we don't see OG utilizing the mid-range as much. It really is more him shooting threes or attacking the rim. And I like that. That's a good thing. That's kind of like a good weapon, just like Gary would use the mid-range. And very, very good. And then the third star of the game, let's see, who did I pick? I forget. I got to remember. Oh, I think I picked Gary. Yeah, I picked Gary because he was another one of the plus minuses. 6 of 18. Now, but the 6 of 18 isn't super great. It's a 33% shooting, but 5 of 10 at the 3-point line for Gary. That's fantastic. Him hitting 5 threes and being real money behind there, 50% at the 3-point line. I love that. That's amazing. So he shot way better from behind the arc than he did inside the arc, which is crazy. So, there's a couple of like missed layups, missed kind of stuff down around the basket, partly once again, because of the Bucks big guys down there agitating anything that comes in within the rim. So 18 points at a +3, 1 steal, 3 rebounds. Just a good game by Gary. I like what he did out there. Now we can get into Siakam real quick. He had a double-double, 13 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals. He was a -12, and he was not efficient. He shot 5 for 14. And it was just kind of ugly. In some ways, that's just as bad as Gary, but he just didn't have the production. It's weird when Siakam only gets 13 in a game like that last night. It makes me sad because I want him to step up to his rivals, to compete with the challenge of his rivals. And you got to step it up in some ways. Siakam was a little bit off. But you know what? He was trying. And there were different times where he looked really good, but he definitely didn't have it like he did on Saturday night. When he was carving up Minnesota and doing some of the things he did on Saturday night, yeah, wow. But not so much last night. It's too bad. And then Poeltl was weird. Poeltl was really inefficient at times with his shooting. We saw him miss a lot. And it was kind of deflating in some ways. I know that he felt bad about how he played last night. In fact, I will bet you money that Jakob Poeltl personally felt like he let the team down and was part of the reason why they lost, because he's just that kind of guy. He'll probably look at his plus minus being -17 and realize all the missed bunnies and missed shots that he had near the basket. And he'll feel personally like he didn't do enough to win. That's just who he is. 10 of 18 is really good shooting still, even though he missed 8 shots. And they were very apparent. When Poeltl missed a shot, we were like, no. And we were like, all like, this is weird because he doesn't usually miss. And it really is like, once again, these guys down low are really tough to shoot around down near there. We saw Brook with these huge blocks on people from time to time. And I love Jakob got payback on Jrue Holliday later because Brook blocked Fred early and made a big whoa. And then later on, Jakob got revenge against Jrue Holliday, blocking him down low. And that was really important and good to see. But 20 points for Jakob. His double-double streak ends with only 6 rebounds. Now, that whole thing is this. Brook Lopez only got 5 rebounds himself. Jakob got 6. They were negating each other. It was basically like WWE between the two of them. It was like Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley fighting and holding each other in check, but neither one of them get the rebound. Then somebody else scoops in and takes the rebound, somebody else, like Siakam or Giannis. That was what was happening. So that's why Jakob didn't get to his double-double. Let's see what Jakob said in his write-up after the game on Facebook, the Jakob Poeltl report. 111-118 loss at the Milwaukee Bucks. We played pretty well against the current top team, but couldn't hold on to a lead on the second night of a back-to-back. JP19 Toronto Raptors. You go, Jakob Poeltl. We love you, and you continue to keep that good fight. And I know you wish you could have some of those missed shots back, my friend. I know you would. Now, Scottie wasn't out there very long. He was out there for 13 minutes, 2 of 3 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 5 points. Now, seriously, I don't want to worry about this too much. We'll probably get some news this afternoon about how he's doing. They come right back to Toronto. We play Indiana on Wednesday. And like I said, they got 2 days off, today and tomorrow. And hopefully this will be very good rest. And hopefully Scottie will be fine, and he'll be starting against the Pacers on Wednesday. We'll have to see how that goes. Just going over the bench, guys, a little bit more. Chris Boucher was fun, fantastic. I love Chris. Chris is hilarious. 3 offensive rebounds, 5 points, 2 of 4 from the field, 16 minutes out there. Nothing too bad. I thought he was perfectly fine running around out there and doing what he does. Precious, really impressed. Happy that he got out there. He only got 5 points also in 20 minutes. 2 of 3 shooting, though. That's not bad. 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 block. And as I said, Precious was a +7. So when we had him out there, we were doing really good. We were being aggressive. In fact, the first time we took a lead in the first half, it was really when he was out there and the lineup Precious was running with. They were the ones who separated from the Bucks the first time in the first half of the game. So I'm really happy that he got back in there. And, he didn't play backup center, really. For a little bit he did. But there were times he was out there with Jakob, and he was playing the 4, just like Nick said he would do. And that's good. We want to see more of that. It was fun. It was fun. We saw him have to play a little bit of backup center, but not too much. And we did see more of the Jakob with Chris Boucher lineup that I like a lot. Like, there's something interesting about the chemistry when Jakob is in the lineup with Chris Boucher. It's just kind of a cool look to me. I don't mind it at all. And once again, as I said, Will Barton, man, this is really bad. Your shooting percentage since you've been a Raptor is horrible. Josh Lewenberg was posting it last night on Twitter, and the amount of shots that he's made to how many he's taken in the time he's been here is really bad. He's not shooting well at all. And last night really added to it. 0 for 6, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. This is tough, man. This is tough, Will. We need you to get something going. Some people are getting upset. Aaron Rose specifically on Twitter saying, what the fuck? We don't want Will Barton to be our backup point guard. We want Jeffrey Dowtin Jr. to be our backup point guard. And why don't we just convert him and make him? He's like, Aaron Rose is saying we should just waive Will Barton and just get Jeff Dowtin fully, converted from two-way and have him be our backup point guard going into the playoffs. In fact, Aaron Rose is very adamant and feels very strongly about this with the language he's using on Twitter. Like, he's mad. He's very mad that Jeff is not getting converted. It's really weird and crazy. Normally, Aaron Rose is kind of like not trying to tell the team what to do, but he very much has an agenda this morning about Jeffrey Dowtin Jr. getting converted and waiving one of the other guys. He's calling for it like crazy. It's crazy. Logical Raptors fanatic is here. Salute the real ones. Project Truth always. We went toe-to-toe with the Bucks. Scottie going out and back-to-back fourth fatigue were issues, but we're starting to really get things going, more gelling, and yeah, Mike's right. This is like all this different stuff. Listen, no slouching what happened. Listen, you saw all that Milwaukee people sitting in the crowd for most of the game. They look really pensive. They look really kind of like unsure. They look really kind of like, whoa, this isn't how we expected the Bucks to have going with the Raptors right now. And I'm a little worried, Dad. Are they going to win, Dad? Are the Bucks going to win tonight? I don't know, son. Right now, the Raptors are cooking. There was a little bit of that last night. You could tell that the first serve arena or whatever they call it was a little bit like the air knocked out of it. And I love that. That's the feeling you want as an NBA team when you're on the road, especially against a top team like this, where you can have control over the crowd and they're shutting up because you're kind of like dealing and you're kicking their ass. Yeah, that is fun, shutting them up. Fred loves it. I know he does. But it's good. But yeah, all this stuff, Scottie going out, the back-to-back, this fourth quarter fatigue. Yeah, Mike, this all contributed to the outcome of last night. But we hung in there and played them strong, and we will get to face them one more time. I don't want to get swept by them. So at this point now, it's like, let's save the sweep. Because last year, you know what happened when we played Milwaukee? We swept them. We did. And this year, it seems like the NBA wants us to get swept by them. Scheduling a trap game yesterday. That very much was a scheduled loss last night. If you think that we were supposed to win this game on a back-to-back the second night against the Milwaukee Bucks at their home in this situation, you're crazy. This is exactly like the Sunday game we played against the Cavaliers about a month ago, where that was just a scheduled L. It's a back-to-back. You're traveling in. You're playing another team on their home court. Yeah, the NBA, when they wrote the schedule, that was supposed to be an L for us and a win for Milwaukee. They intended that last summer. That's just how it is. All right, let me keep going with the comments this morning. Great to see everybody this morning on a lovely sunny Monday morning here in the 416 in Toronto. Let me see what else you're saying. It's good to see all the different names and everybody here. Let me see. Where was I? Okay, I went way past where everybody is. All right, let me make sure. I don't want to miss any of the comments as usual. Callie Mayer's here. Let's see how Callie's stress meter was last night. That was a hard-fought game. Lopez was a killer. If we can get a touch better at finding the open man, OG and Chris were wide open a lot and missed. Yeah, there was a little bit of this. This is part of the problem maybe I have a little bit with Siakam last night, is that it seemed like he was forcing things a little bit like he normally does. He gotten away from forcing things a bit recently, and we've seen really good success in what Callie's saying here. But he did kind of go revert back to his old ways a bit in the fourth quarter and different times, where it's like, Siakam, give it up, give it to somebody else, and let them try and take us home. And there are people coming out for Fred and Pascal about their failure in the fourth quarter last night. Well, fuck y'all. Seriously. No reason to do this. That is a high caliber, a really good team that won like 15 games in a row just not, like a month ago. This is not a slouch. You can see how good this team is with like their different weapons. In the first quarter, they hit like so many threes just off the bat. Like three, so many damn threes. Just us hanging with them. In fact, we weren't hitting threes. We were running with them without hitting threes. We were just making more shots because we were manufacturing more field goal attempts and keeping up with them by getting like two-pointers to every one of their threes. And then, boom, we're keeping right up with them scoring-wise for the most part. And that was something I was worried about. Can we keep up with the firepower of the Milwaukee Bucks, or are we going to get left behind? Well, we didn't get left behind. We played very well. And it was a little bit of a hybrid. It wasn't a full-on offensive marathon. It was a lot of like defensive stopping and like kind of there were lulls in the game where both teams couldn't score a whole lot. So that was pretty good. But yeah, I want to see OG shoot more. OG's shooting at a really high percentage. He should be shooting more. That just makes sense. Nako's here. Good to see Nako the Nacho. Fred, OG, Pascal were our best players. Barton is starting to look kind of yikes. Not that buyout guy should be a game changer. Well, he's definitely not looking as good as he could be. And yeah, I don't know. Let's not judge it all on this. In fact, there may be a little bit of a learning curve going on here. The thing I don't like about his shot is that it's very weird. It hits the front of the rim and then it skips up into the backboard and goes up and then it comes off. Like it was missing very much the same way. Will, go for the middle like Fred. You can't shoot for the front of the rim and try and get a shooter's bounce. You got to fucking go for the twine, bro. Just shoot it right through the net. Don't look at that rim. You don't want that rim, the ball to touch that rim. You want it to go swish right through the middle, just like a Fred VanVleet shot goes. And I think that was part of the problem with his shot last night. He was hitting the rim, clanking it, brick, going out. And that's too bad. We really do need somebody to step up and give production from that backup point guard position. And, Will, you may have lost your spot in the rotation. It may be Malachi that's getting called up the next game to try and be the backup point guard because it's his turn again because you look like a Malachi game from maybe earlier this season. So it's Malachi's turn again, or I don't know, maybe Jeffrey will still get to play a little bit. because he does have some games available still, and we're running out of time. He has like 7 games available, where there's only like 11 games left. So maybe Jeffrey will be back and playing for us. Part of it is that none of the 905 guys were there. You didn't see Joe Wieskamp. You didn't see Ron Harper or Jeffrey Dowtin Jr. They didn't go on the trip. They weren't even there. Delano, was Delano even there? You see him on the bench? I don't think they had hardly anybody on this trip. They just came with the guys they went on the West Coast trip with. Let's see. Yeah, I don't mind your 3 stars, Gerald. They're not bad. I just switched Gary for Pascal. It's just I need more scoring from Pascal. I'm sorry. You're playing this team. You got to be a leader and do that. In some ways, it's tough. I wish we could get all those missed shots by Siakam back, because some of them were really good high percentage shots that just didn't fall in. Cookett saying regarding Will Barton, we were playing him out of position. He's a catch and shoot guy, and we're putting him on point guard duties. That would mess up rhythm shooting. Same when we tried Gary at point guard for bench. That is a good point, Cool Cat. Maybe in some ways his natural position isn't the one we're asking him to do. I don't know. He said he's a point guard. He said this in his interviews. He's like, I like playing point guard, and I'll play point guard. And he has set up people, and he's not horrible at it. It's just he's not shooting well. And honestly, it doesn't really matter whether he's doing this or not. He should just be hitting shots. Because if he's like this long in the NBA and all this, he should just be hitting his shots. I don't know. I can kind of see what you're saying, but in some ways I'm like, no, come on, Cool Cat. He's been a backup point guard, and he's had all this kind of stuff. He's an NBA vet. He's been in all kinds of situations. He's just cold. He's not hitting his shot. He's just as cold as a Malachi would be at certain points where he just can't hit any shots too. And that's what I'm saying. That's the way it works. If you're going to be cold and you're not going to do things and produce and do the right things for us, well, we got to go back and try other options for that role. And Malachi is probably the next guy. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a bunch of Malachi in those minutes on Wednesday when we play the Pacers. We may be seeing Malachi back in the rotation because Will Barton's just been so bad. G saying when Jakob was on the bench in the fourth, it allowed Brooks to go on an 8-0 run with no real size in the paint. Can't wait for Koloko to develop and get stronger. Thank you, G, for the comment, and good morning to you. Yeah, that was a point in the game where I was like, we fucked up. Like, Nick did so good with the rotations in the first half. I thought it was like, wow, he really is making some really cool combinations and really good, like, lineups. You know, there was one lineup that I called the headband lineup. And it was Siakam, Boucher, Precious, and Gary with Will Barton. And that headband lineup was actually really good in the second quarter. They were kicking some butt. Precious, Gary, the headbands. I was calling them that. But yeah, I mean, you know, that point when Brook was in the game without Jakob out there with him, they did eat us alive. He started doing stuff down near the basket, like dunking on us and stuff like that. I'm like, get Jakob back in, because you need to just keep him with Brook Lopez, because that's the only thing you can do to slow him down and kind of match his size and strength. You got to get Jakob with Brook Lopez at the same time. You can't mess around. As soon as you see him, get him in there. There was a point where they were trying to put Fred in the game, and Zach Zarba wouldn't let him come in the game. Zach Zarba, fuck you, man. I know you're a stealth ref hit job artist. That was weird. Like, why wouldn't you let Fred come in? There was a delay. He was standing there. He's like, no, you can't come in. And they made him stand at the sideline for like an extra 2 minutes almost, because there was no dead ball for a while. And I'm like, we wanted Fred in sooner, and you wouldn't let us put him in for Will Barton. And that annoyed me too. It's like, Zach Zarba, what the fuck? Why are you letting us put Fred in the fourth quarter when we want to? You said, no, you got to stand over next to the scorer's table for a couple more minutes, and you know, you're not allowed to get in. You know, Nick was mad last night. He was going off on Zach Zarba, rightfully so. You know, I could tell, like, when they came back with the challenge call, the second one against us, yeah, he went off. He said, all right, well, why is it this way for their challenge earlier, and this is this way for us on our challenge? You know, he just went off on Zach Zarba, and rightfully so. You go, Nick Nurse. I'm so glad you're our coach, because you passionately fight for our team every night when we play a game. You are in the referee's ears, and you're telling them, you're letting them know, politicking, and you're saying these things and fighting on their behalf. I appreciate that about you, Nick Nurse, because there was some bullshit last night, and I'm glad you let Natalie Sago and Zach Zarba hear it to a degree. Yeah. Let's see. Nameless is saying, such BS, man. I could hear the fouls not being called. Yeah, you could hear the smacking. He even said that on the telecast. Ooh, you could hear that smack. Yeah. Yeah, it's bullshit. It's exactly bullshit, but that's the way it is. And that's why we have to be so much better. And that's why we can't depend on listen, they can be dirty and hit us. We got to make the shot no matter what. That's why we can't try and do this stuff, Siakam, where you're trying to go inside and fight against like a couple defenders because you will get fouled. You won't make the shot because they know they can foul you and they won't put you on the line. So in some ways, you can't go that way anymore. I really want our offense to start looking away from the defenders and trying to trick them and getting way more open instead of going in at them, because that's where we're fucking up at the end of the games. You're going in at them. And I know they're intense and they're dialing up their defense like heavy in the fourth quarter. That's just what every team does to try and close it. But it's still, you guys got to be smarter about passing away from a crowd, first of all. I see you guys throw and try and throw a ball down low to somebody near the basket, and they're either not ready or there's too many of the opposing team around and they deflect it and it's a steal. Well, why can't you have the vision to see, well, there's a concentration of Milwaukee Bucks on this part of the court. Well, I'm going to go look at that other corner and throw it to that guy. Because I seem like you guys are throwing it right in the middle of the fire sometimes. And I'm like, why can you not avoid the fire? Maybe try and divert it away, like do a trick, like throw it that way, but swing it right back over the other side where the weak side, where they all were on one side because they reacted, but you swing it just like other teams do to us all the time. And boom, all of a sudden there's an open three by OG on the other side. That's what I'm saying, Raptors. Get the easier shots away from the defense. Make them work and make you get some space between them instead of going right in at them, Siakam, like you always do. That won't work in late game situations with the referees and the way they allow contact on you, because you won't finish and you won't get the call and you won't go to the line. And that's just how it is. You got to get room somehow, some way. And the room is not going to be found in your isolation and your spin down low. I'm sorry to say. You can do it during the game, but at the end of the game, you shouldn't be trying to do that for our offense, because it's not going to get us anywhere. It really won't. Let's see. Yeah, Nameless can hear those fouls, and he's mad. He's yelling. I can see he's writing in caps. G saying they staggered Giannis and Brooks well at the time, or at that time, or they would have had to play Jakob the entire fourth. Smart coaching, to be honest. Nothing to be ashamed of this game. They played hard. I love that attitude, G, and I'm with you. Honestly, I wasn't upset. I really thought we were going to win. Honestly, we were playing so well. And I through the game, I was getting happy. I was like, ooh, I love this team. And I was giddy. I was like, how can you not love the Raptors? The way they were playing against the Bucks last night. Did you guys have any of these kind of moments last night watching the game where you were like, I'm so proud to be a Raptors fan, and I'm so proud of this team, and I just love and enjoy watching them? I had one of those gratification moments where I just wanted to take a moment of gratitude about being a Raptors fan and saying, you know what, I'm just happy that I have a team that I love and that they play like badasses and do some of the stuff that they did in the game. I had that in the moment in the middle of the game last night, because I was like, yeah, it's so fun being a Raptors fan and watching the team do the kind of things that they do and stuff like that. But I was hoping they would win. I felt like it was feeling like it could be a win for the Raptors last night against all the odds. But it didn't turn out that way in the fourth quarter. And, of course, in the third, it felt good. I was like, yeah, we could win this game at the end of the third quarter, up by 6. Well, Zach Zarba didn't like the score. And he started changing the flow and the energy on the court to favor and prop up the Bucks to get back into it, eat up our little lead at the beginning of the fourth, and then take a lead for themselves. So that's just tough. But you're right, G. Let's give some credit to Coach Bud. Really good coaching job by him. But I think both the coaches did really well. And in fact, NBA TV was marketing this game a little bit as a coaching battle. And that they, listen, they were very, very glowing about us too. Once again, the Bucks announcers were very fair and nice about us. They said, listen, once again, another team's announcers saying this team needs to stay together. And then the NBA TV guys were really showing us some good respect in the in-studio also about us and how they were calling it. So, hey, I'm not upset with the American media and how they handled our game last night. They were very respectful to us. and it was a good game. Like, honestly, anybody down south who watched the Raptors-Bucks game last night got entertained. There was a lot of fun stuff in it, a lot of good entertainment value in the game, and that was awesome. Let's see. Nako's saying Scottie doesn't leave the game. It goes at least to overtime. Yeah, I could maybe see that. I don't know. Maybe we just straight up win, Gerald, if Scottie doesn't leave the game. I mean, seriously, he left so early. It was in the second half. And then when I saw Gary starting in the third, I was like, oh, crap, Scott's out for the rest of the game. And I was like, it sucks. But hopefully he'll be all right and everything will be fine. And he'll be playing on Wednesday. Jimmy's saying having Scottie wouldn't have hurt. Praying Scottie is okay. Yeah, I hope he's okay too. I'm sure he's going to be fine. Like I said, I think this is a normal, like, nagging injury he's been dealing with his whole NBA career so far. So it's not going to be like a big deal. And plus, this is a weird injury, the thumb. It's a kind of a weird one. A lot of people play with a hurt thumb all the time. It's not like one that totally takes you out. Unless the ligament's very torn or ripped and you really have hard motion with the thumb, like you can't use it very well, then you might have to have surgery. But otherwise, it's usually just a sprain. And it's not often you miss time for that hand injury either. So just so you guys know. And from my expertise and like knowing injuries over the years in the NBA and stuff, that's usually the case with that kind of injury. Let's see. Logical saying we almost won. If we had more time with Poeltl, he makes those fourth quarter catches and baskets. He could have gone Lopez for us. Fight fire with fire. In time, it's going to be scary how good we are. They were really, really going heavy to Jakob in the fourth quarter with mixed results. Some of it was really bad, but he did get a lot of the main buckets near the end when nobody else was scoring or doing anything. Jakob was stepping up. He had a really bad shooting percentage earlier, too. He was missing so many shots that normally he would just make. He definitely had an off game last night. But listen, if this is an off game for him, 20 points with 6 rebounds and 2 blocks, that's still pretty damn good. But it was kind of an off game for Jakob on the down low. And that's too bad. I don't like seeing that because I know he's really tough on himself. As I said, I'll bet you in some ways he feels like he was single-handedly part of the reason why we lost last night. Is he may look at the box score and the plus minus, and then he'll think about all the missed shots he had and if they just gone in, and it's tough. But listen, you had a tough test, Jakob. Dealing with Brook Lopez, seriously, he's annoying. He is so annoying right now. Let me just look at his stat line begrudgingly. He was 9 of 15, 1 of 6 from 3. Thank God he wasn't hitting threes too much. He hit all 7 of his free throws. 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, a plus 11 for 26 points. He filled up the stat sheet. As I said, he only had 5 rebounds. That's kind of amazing. And once again, I said that was a stalemate between him and Jakob, blocking each other out from getting rebounds altogether. But then you got, after him, Giannis, of course, with a triple-double, 22 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists, 2 blocks, 9 for 9. Perfect 9 for 9 from the field for Giannis. He was a minus 10, though, guys. So in some ways, they were kind of holding Giannis out at times because he was hurting them. They're trying to run it through him so much, and we're just so good at stifling him and causing him to be frustrated that, in some ways they had to go away from him. And then they needed to lean on Brook Lopez to a degree because Giannis was not the way to go. Middleton was annoying, 5 of 8 from 3, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 7 for 13 shooting. Yeah, he's somebody you got to remember he's on their team, and you got to remember that he's going to bomb threes and he's going to hit them if he's wide open. And we let Middleton get open too much last night, and he did silently kill us in some ways. Jrue Holliday was pretty contained, pretty good. I like at the end of the game seeing Fred and Jrue embrace at the end of the game as true competitors. You can really tell they like each other, and that it's probably fun for them to match up and play against each other. Fucking Grayson Allen, piece of shit. 1 for 7, only 2 points. You deserve that, you idiot. Yeah, he's such an annoying guy. I really find a lot of the Bucks annoying and cocky. Like, I don't like Connaughton either. Bobby Portis is a jerk. Brook Lopez is an asshole. The only ones on this team I like are Jrue and Giannis. I don't like Joe Ingles either. He's like a weird, crusty old Australian guy. And when he was hitting on the bench with those guys, they were like making fun of Fred or something at one point. It pissed me off. It was like they're sitting there and laughing or something. Like, I don't know. The Bucks are cocky, and I just don't like their personnel. And now that they added Myers Leonard, they're even more disgusting. Seriously. And Goran Dragic. I mean, they just have disgusting people on their team. I can like Giannis. I can like Jrue. And maybe nobody else. I don't like anybody else. Chris Middleton, I respect. It's not that I like him, but I respect him. I don't really hate him, although he kills us. But the rest of them are really gross. I just don't like the Bucks. I don't like their personnel. I don't like their personalities. Serge is gone. Serge is a cool dude. I can kind of like Serge because he's on the bench. But you traded Serge for Goran Dragic and now Myers Leonard. Yeah, that's a very unlikable team. And I don't want them to win the championship. In fact, I don't want them to win almost just as much as I don't want the Celtics to win now. So Philadelphia, I might be getting behind you if you can make some noise and get far. Oh my gosh, did I just say that? No, wait, I can't because of Joel Embiid. Damn it, I can't get behind any of the Eastern teams. I guess I'm going to be rooting for West. Unless we get up there. That's right. Unless we do it. You saying there's a chance? Seymour Pay? All right, let's see. Logical saying, oh, yeah, I read that one. G saying, I agree. They were calling stuff for Giannis and Brooks and OG on a dunk where he was clearly fouled 2 times and Jakob being hacked. There were no calls. Well, the evidence is in the foul calls. Exactly, G. Let's go look at the team stats real quick. They only gave us 12 free throws for the whole game. How many free throws did they shoot? 21. So they got 9 more free throw attempts. We lost by 7 points. They made 7 more free throws than us. You do the math. You figure it out. Is that a big contributing factor? Well, you get 21 chances at the free throw line, and the other team only gets 12 chances at the free throw line. You tell me. You tell me. And the end of the game, it seemed like only one team was going to the free throw line for pretty much most of the fourth quarter. It seemed like only one team was going to the free throw line. And that's what Nick Nurse was telling them at the end of the game. How come they're going to the free throw line, and why are we not going to the free throw line? We're getting hit just as bad as they are. Why aren't we getting N1s? Why aren't we getting free throw shots? Yeah, ref hit job, subtle ref hit job, diverting specific free throws to one side and one team and not giving any free throws the other side and the other team. And the numbers and the stats don't lie. Seriously, they can say, oh, well, we called almost the same fouls. We called 15 fouls on you and 13 on Milwaukee. Well, what kind of fouls were they? And what were the outcomes of the fouls? Were the fouls side outs or were they free throw attempts? That's the difference. You could have called 13 fouls on Milwaukee, but maybe most of those were called side out, and there were no free throws that came of them. That's what I'm saying. You can't just purely look at the foul amounts for the two teams on team stats. You got to look at the free throw attempts and see how much they're actually putting people at the charity stripe, and know that difference is the difference in the score last night. Right there. Bam. Right there. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, bam. Monique is here. Good to see Superfan Monique Lawrence. Always keeping it real. Yes, Monique, you go. Fix the fourth quarter woes. Good morning. Yeah, different things. Tiredness, away game with away crowd. Zach Zarba's mean. Brook Lopez is a goon, hitting everybody, coming down low, and they don't care that the accomplice is the ref. He'll hit people. And he doesn't get called for any of that down there. And we just miss shots. And they just say, oh, Milwaukee has such a good defense. That's how it goes pretty much right there. Nameless is saying, I like to check our records in games where we can go 500, 0 for 6. It stinks of corruption. Trust me, I'm Italian. We invented corruption. Wow. Okay, so he's an expert on corruption. And he knows it when he sees it. Nameless. And I'm with him on this. This is really fishy and weird. Right when we're about to get to 500 again, it seems like the NBA is like, push you back down, Raptors. No, you can't get to 500. No, we don't want you to be above 500 team. You have to be a losing team this season, because that's true. I don't know if it's 0 for 6. I think we're 0 for 5 in games where we could have gotten to 500. This was the toughest one, though, to try and get to 500. This one against the Bucks. I mean, Coach Pop did us a solid yesterday. The Hawks were kicking the Spurs' ass, and in the second half, they fucking came back and kicked their ass. Go, you Popovich. You are such a great guy. We love you, Coach Pop, and the Spurs. kicking the Hawks' ass and putting them right next to us. We had the chance. We had the same record as them. But because we lost the series against them, AJ Griffin, last second shot, the Hawks have won 2-1 in the season series. We don't have the tiebreaker. So we were actually below them even with the same record. So we had to win the game last night to actually jump over them and get into that 8th seeding against Miami Heat in the upper play-in. But we couldn't get the job done. And maybe in some ways, Ed Malloy and Secaucus, Zach Zarba on the ground. Don't let the Raptors come up and get down over 500. And that's what I'm saying. That this is fishy. The 5 chances to get to 500, and they've all been squashed in different ways, whether we weren't good enough, whether it was a ref hit job, whether it was a really tough opponent, all kinds of different things. It just hasn't happened. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm forecasting something. Because in the next 4 games, we're at home. In fact, this is our last 4 of 5 home games. The last home game is against Milwaukee the last day of the season. But we have 4 home games in a row, and then we do the road trip. That's going to be a little weird. But this is the thing. By the end of this week, with Indiana, Detroit, Washington, and Miami, these 4 home games that we got, we win 3 out of 4 of them. We're above 500. And that's very doable. It's Indiana, Washington, Detroit, Miami. We can win 3 out of 4 of those games. In fact, I'd like to see our home win streak extend. We lost in Milwaukee last night. We still have a 7-game home streak that we need to defend on Wednesday against the Indiana Pacers. Section 115, row 10, getting loud. That's right. That's what's going down on Wednesday. That we need to defend the home court against Indiana, Washington, Detroit, and Miami. And boom, if we can get 3 out of those 4, well, you do the math. We're 2 below 500. We get 3 out of 4. We lose 1. We're exactly at 500. We win all 4 of them. We're a game over 500, right? Isn't that how that works? Or no, we're 2 games over 500 then. So that's what I'm saying. We have the chance to get over 500 on this next homestand that's about to start. And we might need to, because the last couple games on the road, Philadelphia, some Charlotte games, 2 Boston games, and then the Milwaukee game at the end of the season, we may need to get the wins in this next week coming up and get as many of them as possible towards 40, because we're going to want 42 wins at the end of the season, and we're running out of games to get them in. So we got to get them every single time. Yeah. So Van Hoot's here. Good to see Van Hoot. I'm going to say this. As a fan, you are more than allowed to be frustrated at times here. Will Barton going against Giannis ISO like he's Kobe. What on earth was that nonsense? Yeah, I can get behind this. Yeah, for sure. You know what? Listen, we're not we're positive Raptor fans, but we're realistic for the most part also. I know some people think we're not, but it is whatever. We just love our team and we want to look through the rose-colored tinted glasses. But yeah, I can look through those rose tinted glasses and see exactly what you're saying about with Will Barton. Yeah, that was a little crazy. I do want him to be more aggressive and try and score. In fact, I wanted him to do some really crazy shot. And I'll be like, yeah, Will the Thrill. I've been waiting to be like, Will the Thrill. And I haven't gotten a chance to really do Will the Thrill because he hadn't done anything really amazing or incredible yet. Like some sort of crazy bank shot 3 out of the blue, or like a last second, 24-second clock shot or something like that. He has not done anything like that yet. He's had some nice assists. He's playing kind of solid defense, but honestly, the shooting has not been here at all. And that's annoying. And I don't mind being critical of him right now. He went 0 for 6. That gets you criticism right there. You're 0 for 6. Yeah, we can be critical of that. MSJ saying, good game. I do think that game shows we can go into a 7-game playoff matchup and do okay versus the Bucks. I think so too, especially with more direction and more kind of rest. This is this game, like I said, this was a scheduled L. They put this game on a back-to-back this way on purpose. Because listen, they looked at how we beat the Bucks last season and like, well, when we make the schedule, we can't let the Bucks lose the Raptors like they did last season. That was horrible. I know we couldn't run that back to back after that Detroit game, and they still beat them. I'm so mad about that. Let's make sure that we really mess them up. Let's put one game at the end of the season. Yeah. Let's put another game on a back to back at the second night. Yeah. Ooh, that'll really make it hard for them to beat Milwaukee. In some ways, it really is the way they set up the schedule. and that this was a scheduled loss all season. I mean, I looked at it at the beginning of the year. I was like, yeah, we're going to lose that Milwaukee game, March the 19th. We'll lose that. I counted at the beginning of the year. I was like, yeah, that game's going to be a loss because that's going to be after we play Minnesota, and then we got to go to Milwaukee and play them. Yeah, you look at it, that's a loss. They wanted us to lose. Randolph saying, good morning, beloved Raptor freaks. Most informative game. There's hope. We are believing for healing for Scottie Barnes. Yes, please, please, please get some good healing. I'm going to get an orb, like a crystal. I'm going to do some crystal work. Oh, Scottie's healing his hand, his thumb. Scotty's thumb is fine. I don't know. We use the healing crystal. I don't know. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. He's probably going to be fine. Omari's here. Good to see Omari Parsons. Y'all, listen, if you're looking to rent or own in the 905 or around the 416, Omari Parsons is your guy. Look him up in the phone book. He can help you find an apartment or a house to lease or rent or own. There you go. Omari, good to see you. What's up, freaks? Haven't been here for a while. Enjoyed that game up until 6 minutes ago. Like every other loss this year, the effort was A+, but these guys need to close it out. Yeah, in some ways, I'm giving them a pass on this one, Omari. This isn't totally failure. This isn't totally like they fell apart and it's horrible. There's a lot of contributing factors to the outcome of last night. And I just love the valiant effort by them, the tough tenacity, and the never say die and get after it. And the fact that we met them at a very high level and competed with them. Listen, they were not playing badly last night. In fact, in some ways, the Bucks were playing very efficiently and very well. The team stats say so. They shot 52%. They made 16 of their 45 threes. We did actually outshoot them at 3, which is amazing considering how scorching they were shooting the 3 in the first quarter. That by the end of the game, they were 16 of 45 from 3, and we were 14 of 34. So we only missed 2. We had 2 less threes than them by the end of the game, and that's pretty good. We did manufacture 17 more shots than them, and that is very impressive. With our, we the way we do it with offensive rebounds and turnovers and steals and stuff. So that was really good. I like that we got 17 more shots on goal. That's always something I'm looking at. We talked about the free throws already. I won't go over them again. They did out rebound us 45-41. That's too bad. We did get our mark of 25 assists, but they got 35 assists. So they were really looking for each other and sharing the ball. Only 6 steals. There was a little bit less steals last night than against like the team like the Timberwolves on Saturday. It would have been nice if we'd gotten more steals loose, but I guess they're just a vet team and they really take care of the ball really well. And it's hard to get turnovers on them. They did get 12 turnovers and we only had 7. So we did win that battle too. Points in the paint, we won by 4 points. So yeah, it was a pretty even battle. Like I said, the free throw attempts mattered. And then things like, them getting a couple more threes than us, that mattered a little bit too. But it is what it is. I'll chalk it up to learning experience. These guys aren't holding their heads. This is how it is. It's just how it is. This is a tough team. They're very good. And we competed with them. We did a pretty good job. Let's see. G saying, apparently Barton in the past has been a Bucks killer. Didn't know that. The commentators mentioned it. Maybe he did think he was Kobe going into it. Well, okay. Well, maybe there is like a body of work from before where Will Barton's played very well against that particular team. Well, the Bucks announcers are talking about him as being a Buck killer. Well, that's good, I guess. But he wasn't last night, which is too bad, which is really, really too bad. Because I'm rooting for Will. I want good things to happen. Obviously, if he can help us win, that'd be fantastic. Jimmy saying Gary got hammered on an and one call and no call. The very next play, ticky-tack one foul, laughing my ass off. Don't want to say that's why we lost, but that shit don't help. Completely took us out of our defense. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say it either, Jimmy, but in some ways it is unfair. And in some ways it is kind of insidious. But that's the thing we keep saying. We got to be so much better. That we just got to be that much better in all kinds of different ways. That it doesn't matter. No excuses, no things. They're not going to give us stuff. They're not going to hand anything to us. They're not going to make it fair. They're not going to do things in a fair way on both ends of the court. Well, we just have to be that badass and that much better that we overcome it and win it all. It's tough. It's tough. In some ways, I mean, listen, I don't totally blame the refs for a loss. We could have won the game last night if we had more juice, if we had more execution, if we had more shots fall in the last 5 minutes of the game, yeah, we could have won this game. In fact, it was very close with 3 minutes to go. We were only down by 2. And some of it is like late game execution, just not getting executed. And one of the problems was we could not stop them at their end of the court. Like, we can try and win. They got a little bit of a lead at the end of the game. Well, you have to get stops, Raptors. And the Bucks were consistently scoring every time down the court near the end of the game. We were not stopping them in the important time. This is the difference between us and last year. Last year, we could do fourth quarter stands where nobody could score on us in the last 5 minutes of the game. Where was that last night? Well, I'll blame fatigue in the second night of a back-to-back, and that it was just really hard. But the not getting the stops, it hurt just as bad as the not being able to score, obviously, because you can't catch up and come back on them with very little time on the clock if you can't stop them at their end of the court. And that was happening last night. Infamous is saying, morning, I enjoyed the fight we had last night. The refs shifted the game with all the calls that gave Lopez free throws. Yeah, the fourth quarter, you could tell that was when it switched. It was very much right at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Zach Zarba's whistle was very manipulative of the flow of the game and things that were happening. And that's why Nick Nurse got enraged. And that's why he let him know. He let him know. Boy, did he let him know. And they were even telling Trey Maddox a little bit about it. It's like, Nick, don't yell at Trey. He's one of the good guys. And Trey was real nice about it. It was funny. Nick was yelling at him. And then Fred came over to Trey, and he said, whatever he said, I agree with. He said that to Trey. He said, what he said, I agree with. He pointed and said that. And Trey said, I know you do. Of course you do. And then he smiled and laughed. And Fred kind of laughed too. So this is like a nice moment, even though things were very acrimonious and kind of upset with Nick Nurse. And Fred's upset too. But there was still a moment to be able to have a laugh with Trey Maddox about it. Because it really was funny. If you caught that moment, Nick's yelling at him. And Fred says, yeah, and I agree with him too. He's right, is what he said. And Trey's like, of course you agree with your coach. That's good. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the game. Honestly, the game was very enjoyable for the most part. It's just we didn't get the outcome we wanted by the end. But you know what? In some ways, we can take pride in knowing that we gave a good fight and effort against the top team in the league. They really are the number one team in the league. They got the best record. They seem like the best team in the league to me, as far as seeing all the different teams and where they're at right now in different places. I feel like they're the best team in the league right now, the Milwaukee Bucks. And they may be the favorite to win it all. I hate that. I don't want Goran Dragic winning a ring. He should not win a ring. He should not win a ring. He's ring chasing. You know that. He may not even hardly play for them at all, and he'll go get a ring. A little fake-ass motherfucker, tragic. All right, let's see. Logical saying Scottie out messed up the early fourth rotation. Scottie is the point guard mainly at that time, with Will as a stable force and own shot creator, with Gary Trent's own shot creator is the form of that early fourth rotation. Yeah, I think you're right. That often he's the stabilizer out there in that situation. You know, there weren't too many times where Nick put too many bench guys all at once. He really is mixing and matching much better at this point in the season than just throwing a five-man all-bench lineup out there. I thank him for that. You know, at least he always has either Pascal or Fred out there with them, and that is such a stabilizing good thing to keep things kind of coherent and cohesive and not off the rails and unorganized. You really always do have to have at least one starter in the game, Nick. You can't go a full bench reserve lineup. We just aren't good enough off the bench to do that. So thank God he didn't do that. But yeah, Scottie's minutes were missed later. Like who got those minutes in his absence? Let's look at that. Who got the minutes? Scottie only played 13. So who ended up playing way, way more? Well, I don't know. Maybe you could say that Precious got more of his 20 minutes because of that. I don't know. Maybe Chris and Will and Precious kind of ate up those minutes because I think everybody else got the minutes they were going to get regardless. So it had to be like Boucher maybe got a couple more. Precious got 5 more, and maybe Will got 5 more minutes than he was going to play also. So you're probably right, Mike, that instead of Will Barton out there for that fourth quarter, we would have had Scottie Barnes. That may have been a little bit different how things were going. Cool Cat saying refs protecting these top seeds again. Denver, the Bucks. Soon it will be the Celtics. Refs in the NBA don't want the Raptors anywhere near their favorites. Yeah, I really do feel like this. They do protect them. It's shown in the way they build the schedule, and then they build the ref hit job. They bring the refs that know how to manipulate the game and try and help the team that they want to win the game. And that's why we have to be so good when we play these top teams. We get Milwaukee one more time. We're going to get Boston 2 games in a row in Boston. It'll be fun and interesting to see how we take these challenges and do what we can do to try and get W's no matter what, even against all the odds. Because I'm all about that. In some ways, I like the odds, even if they're unfair, because it makes you earn it. You earn it and you feel so much more badass because you know just how much you went through. It's kind of like if you're in a fight and 5 guys are fighting you and you beat up all 5 of them. Yeah, that's like against the odds. And you know you did something. I shouldn't use that kind of analogy, but it's true. Maybe it's like maybe you're a rower and you're the only one in the rowboat and they got a crew of 5 in the other rowboat and you're rowing by yourself and you still beat them. That's what I'm saying. That's a better analogy, I think. No violence. Let's see. But I think it's true. And it's very specific teams. Boston, Milwaukee, Denver. Yeah, there's something weird going on there. Van Hoot saying Siakam had Joe Ingles on him, but no, let's run pick and roll 20 times with Fred and Yak. Someone explain that to me. Why wait till 4th to start running Yak and skills pick and roll? No loco? Gee, they mentioned Will looked faded last night. Looked faded. All right, let's break this down a little bit by Van Hoot here. Good to see you, Van Hoot. I like that matchup of Siakam trying to cook Joe Ingles. Although Joe Ingles is kind of wily. He can kind of do a little bit of stripping, a little bit, and he's kind of like a wily vet. I don't know. The decision makings of what they were doing on offense for most of the game, I would say like 3 quarters of the game, if not 3.5 quarters of the game, was really smart and really well done. It's just that there was like maybe poor decisions at the end of the game with how they were trying to go about their scoring. I think that's a pretty good criticism. As far as this like stuff, they were really heavily going to that pick and roll with Jakob at all different times during the game. And I thought that was smart. But it's just that it's too bad Jakob didn't have more success making a lot of those shots. You know, he missed 8 shots yesterday. And I'll bet you normally he would have made half of those shots if he had been more on. And he would have been like 14 of 18 instead of 10 of 18. And that's 8 points. And we lost by 7. And boom, we win by 1. You know, there's a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda that we could look at and pick apart. I'm not totally against like how they diverted the water for most of the game. Like I said, it's just at the end, some of the offensive decisions on how they were trying to score were mystifying to me and way harder to go about. But maybe it was just also too, the Milwaukee defense is suffocating and tough. And it's just really hard to get anything against them when they're in that mode of trying to close the game out and get a win. Because that's a factor too. We got to factor in is Milwaukee has a pretty good defense. And if they're like rested and they're feeling good and we're tired from the night before, well, they're going to have an advantage of trying to shut us down in the last 3 minutes of the game. And that's tough to deal with. No Koloko, I'm okay with that. In some ways, Precious was a better matchup against the Bucks specifically. So I'm okay with that. I mean, Koloko's going to be interesting how they use him. I know some fans are like, use him all the time, use him a lot. And I'm like, I'm not totally on that train with them because he does make mistakes. He does some really good, showy, flashy stuff. But then, you know, for every block he gets, he has like 2 miscues on defense and an easy basket for the other team. So it's kind of like, yeah, pick your poison. And I don't know if he's completely ready yet. He's had a really good year and he's developed a lot. And also he's on the down low hurt. Think about it. You don't really want him out there with that broken nose with a big, ugly goon with big elbows like Brook Lopez out there in some ways. He's not a good matchup for him. Brook Lopez would just push Koloko around. And so in some ways, that's another reason why he wasn't used last night, because he's not a good matchup for him at all. Let's see. G saying that Will looked faded. Well, maybe. I don't know. He didn't look that bad. He looked like he was moving around all right. He just looked like he was missing his shots. G saying, I did enjoy the Raptors shooting threes from different parts of the floor from a variety of players. You can see what they will look like soon. I just like, listen, Gary's such a bucket. Pascal, I wish you made more of your threes. But you're fine. You're okay. Like let's look at that real quick. The breakdown of who was making threes for them last night. Gary 5 of 10, absolutely fantastic. OG 4 of 5. That means they were 9 of 15. Those two guys by themselves, 9 of 15 from 3. OG and Gary, that's fantastic. Fred 3 of 8. That's okay. Fred had some important threes at times. And then only one by Scottie and one by Siakam, and nobody else hit any threes otherwise. So 41% from three for the Raptors. That's great three-point shooting. I can't get mad at that. 40% and up is a great three-point shooting. So I didn't have real issues with their three-point shooting last night at all. I thought they were pretty good. Let's see. Nako's saying the Bucks challenge was BS. Yeah, it totally ruined momentum for us. In fact, I was like, yes, we finally got a call for us. But then Bud was like, no, you don't. I'm calling a challenge on that. And I was pissed off. It was obvious that Giannis lowered the shoulder. In fact, when it happened, I was like, he lowered the shoulder. And then I was like, yes, they called it right for once. But then, no, there was a challenge. And Ed Malloy was at Secaucus, as I said. And he's probably like, Zach, screw them over. OG foul on OG. And Zach Zarba's, yes, master. Fucking bullshit, man. Kareem Thomas is here. Listen, I'm going to get my pen ready and the dunk list because I know this man's probably going to say something funny. Let me see what he's saying. I know Fred will ask for top dollar or will negotiate for the betterment of the team, but one thing I do know is protect Fred at all costs. He is a dog, and he is the head of the snake. Pay that man. Oh, there you go. Kareem Thomas is a Fred VanVleet fan. He is very anti-Panzer. And you know what? I'm with you on this. That's a man who needs to be a Raptor for life. And he is ingratiated, and he's just a real one. We love you, Fred. And yes, pay that man, Larry Tenenbaum. I have no problem with paying Fred this summer. I know a lot of people are going to be upset when they're going to see a number that Fred gets and be like, well, he's not worth that little short guy. And I'll be like, yeah, he is, motherfucker. You don't know who Fred VanVleet is? You didn't see what he did to Giannis last night, cooking him in the microwave? Yeah, we love Fred. Real ones love Fred. Real ones that love the Raptors love Fred. Monique is saying 3 stars of the game for Monique are Fred, Gary, and OG plus Poeltl. Proud, regardless. I said it in the Facebook group. We can still pass the Hawks. We're ready, NBA. Watch out. Watch out, NBA. Monique has warned you officially. Official NBA, a warning for the official NBA association that Monique Lawrence would like to send a little message to Adam Silver in the email. Say, dear Adam Silver, the Raptors are coming. You have been warned. There you go. Click. Send. Yes, send that to them. Yes, I agree with you, Monique, for sure. And yeah, you have the Fred, Gary, and OG and Poeltl. Yeah, Poeltl was okay. I don't want to be too hard on him because I know he's hard on himself, as I said before. I think we can still pass the Hawks. Like I said, this week is in our benefit, but we really do need to take advantage of our home court, and we need to win. We need to make sure we win these games. We did a really good job with this 3-stand that was last week, Denver, Minnesota, and Oklahoma City. And, well, we got 4 more games in a row at home. This is the last real home stretch, and we need to take care of business at home. We can be 11-game win streak at home after these 4 games. That'd be badass because we have a 7-game home win streak right now. It really is kind of since we lost that game to Utah when Jakob showed up, we have not lost a home game. So we need to win these games to continue this streak and protect it and get above 500. That's the math. We're below 500 by 2 games. We got 4 games at home. Well, let's get above 500. Let's get up there. Yes, let's do it. Let's see. Isaac Campbell saying nobody wishing we didn't have SB 4th this morning. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm sad about Scottie, but I'm sure he's going to be all right, guys. Watch. He'll be fine. He'll play tomorrow. He'll play on Wednesday. Watch. G saying Ed Malloy. No wonder they overturned that clear elbow. Shaking my head. Yeah, he was in charge of the replay center last night. I look at that too. I don't usually note that because I don't really think it'll be a factor. But when I saw his name at the front of it, they have like 4 of them in there, but he's the lead one. And he's probably the one directing the calls at that time. I don't think Kane Fitzgerald's just there doing it. I think he just oversees it and runs things. And he kind of like gives a sign. He may be the guy who's assigning where guys go and play or ref and where they are and stuff, Kane. Because he's technically in charge of Secaucus. But I bet they have like a head ref there. And it was Ed Malloy. He was a senior guy. And he's the one who's making the choices. Yeah, G saying facts. Yeah, Ed Malloy, he's like, I couldn't get them against Minnesota on Saturday. They played too good. I couldn't get them, damn it. I tried to do a hit job, but the Raptors were too good. Yeah, Azrael. Man, his Gargamel motherfucker. He's like, Azrael, I tried to hurt the Raptors and I tried to get them, but I couldn't. They were too good. So I'll get them in the replay center the next night. Fucking Gargamel motherfucker. Yeah. All right, let's see. Shirkan's here. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Scheduled loss, but still keeping pace with Atlanta. We can still win 6 out of the next 9 games going into the final home game versus Milwaukee. The 2 challenges that went for them gave them 4 extra free throw attempts. There you go. Well, bam, Shirkan dropping facts and good factoids there. Listen, that makes sense. Those challenges were that much of a turn. Think about it. OG was going to shoot free throws. Instead, Giannis shot free throws. That is a big swing right there. That's a 4-point swing right there because we should have gotten 2 points instead of them getting 2 points. But of course, Giannis is shitty at the free throw line, and we get to see him miss a couple of those free throws. That was actually awesome. I love seeing Giannis brick free throws and mess up 3 for 7 from free throws. So fun. Let's see. Good comment, though. I love to see it, Shirkan. David's here. All right, let's see what David's saying. He's feisty. We played well. If it were fucking Nick Nurse and the refs, the game was not even close. Nick is absolutely insane. Barton is not a point guard. Do you get that now, Nick? Chill out, David. Don't come after Nick. There's no reason to come after Nick. It's not Nick's fault completely. Forgive him for thinking that a 12-year something vet can play in the NBA and play steady good minutes in that moment. In fact, he's been playing pretty steady for the most part. It's just he had his real first shitty kind of game. I mean, I'm not mad at Nick, man. I'm really not. In fact, at the beginning of the game, for most of the game, I was really impressed with the decisions he was making. And I was like, you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to talk about how badass Nick was because he made really good, smart rotations. And he was really bringing guys in and out really smart with good combinations that were really battling the Bucks really well. There weren't very many times where it felt like it was a letdown because we had Banchin. In fact, at the times when we had Banchin, we were excelling and beating them more than we were losing. And that's something that I like. That's been a problem for us recently is like when he uses bench, there's a drop off in the quality that the Raptors play. Well, we didn't feel that last night. And that's part of the reason why I'm lauding him and giving him a lot of credit because he did do a good job for the most part. That Will Barton thing's not on Nick. He hoped he would do that, played well, and do better than 0 for 6. He could have. He could have easily made some of those shots. That's on Will Barton. That's not on Nick Nurse. I'm sorry. Infamous is saying, Will Barton is not working so far. I would have replaced him with Flynn in the 3rd and 4th. Maybe. Well, that's what I'm saying, Infamous. Next time around, it may be Malachi is getting his number called again. It's his turn to try again and get those minutes instead. That Will's run out of chances. And maybe that Nick's thinking that, but maybe not. Maybe it's just like, we got to keep going with him because he is going to get it. And we believe in him and we think he'll still get it. So we'll have to see. David's saying, fuck, he drives me nuts with the goofy little lineup. See, David, I'm on the exact opposite end of the spectrum than you on this. He did fantastic last night with integrating Precious and Chris and Gary with the starters in the beginning. And then when Scottie went out, he had to put Gary more in the starting stuff. And then he still had to figure things out. And I thought he did a good job. Listen, the guys were tired at the end of the game, but they were going to be tired no matter what. And in some ways, he limited their minutes to a degree. We could go be minutes police and look at this with Scottie leaving the game in the first half. You know, Siakam only played 38 minutes. He didn't even get to 40 minutes. And that's pretty good considering Fred 38 minutes. Also, Gary 33 minutes, OG 37 minutes, you know, Poeltl 31 minutes. So nobody played like they played normal minutes and not like overplayed. So in some ways, I'm pretty happy about that. But I don't know. What did you want? What did you want from him, David? I thought he did a good job. I'm glad he picked Precious and Boucher over Thad Young and Koloko. I'm sorry. I am glad that he picked Precious over Koloko. So, yeah, just chill out, David. Save it for Wednesday, bro. Bring it to the arena, and let's put it into good energies directed against the other team, the Pacers, on Wednesday, David. All right? Or just Joel Embiid. Just go off on Joel Embiid for a little bit. But yeah, no reason to go off on Nick. Smooth's here. Good to see Smooth. A scheduled loss, but the fact that they played so well until the start of the 4th quarter, this was a missed opportunity. The crazy run without Giannis. Wow. Yeah, listen, honestly, that's weird. You know, I'm wondering about like, you know, listen, I know it was a scheduled loss. They wanted us to lose the way they built the schedule and stuff, but we did play really well and we did have a chance. And we could have easily stole this game in some ways if things had just gone a little bit better. We had a couple of tough breaks, Scottie, the refs, all kinds of different stuff going on there. So I agree with you, Smooth. It's too bad. It is what it is. We've had a lot of missed opportunities this season, chances to win close games that just didn't come in our favor. All right, let's see. There's somebody in here, and G has deleted his message, but I want to see what the message is, G, and just to say. All right, let's see what the Godfather's saying. But G's already deleted it and sent him out of here. Let's see. Giannis came from nothing, but y'all not beating or giving them a tough series. Playoff Giannis is different now. Bucks and 4. All right, Godfather, we appreciate you being here. You're obviously a Bucks fan. And I was wondering if any of y'all were going to come in here after the game yesterday. Listen, I'm going to tell y'all right now, y'all have not beaten us in a playoff series yet. If y'all play us this year, you might play us. But I don't know if you'll get a chance to play us. We'll have to see how it all goes down. But, yeah, we have a good history against y'all. Y'all never won a playoff series against us. And it's still that way until you do. Okay. Now, listen, I have a lot of love and respect for Giannis Antetokounmpo. He is a cool dude, and I like him. I like his personality, and I like the Bucks mostly. But as I said, I don't like a lot of the new guys you just got, like Dragic and Myers Leonard. Those guys are pieces of shit. And Brook Lopez is an asshole too. But I do like your 3 other guys, Jrue, Chris, and Giannis. Those guys are good guys, and I respect them. And they play the game the right way. They're good citizens and just good dudes, honestly. You're not one of the Eastern teams that I hate as much as I hate like Philly or Celtics or something like that. In fact, I respect y'all to a degree because y'all won a championship in a tough, difficult situation like we did. And they don't want teams like Milwaukee and Toronto winning championships. So when we do, that's a big accomplishment. So in a lot of ways, I see you guys as equals with us. It may seem like we're not because we're down, but don't get it twisted. We're a badass team, and our record doesn't reflect who we are. Well, so it'd be interesting if we played y'all in the playoffs, but we'll have to see. But yeah, either way, I appreciate you being here, and I'm sorry that you got modded before I even got to read it, but that's fine. I mean, I understand what's going on here. Yeah, we'll give you guys a tough series. We will. Trust me, we would. Van Hoot saying, and yes, I've been calling for improvement on the bench since before Otto's toe went missing. At Infamous, no Flynn hasn't been consistent, hasn't initiated the offense which is needed. Yeah, we improved this so much. I wish we had improved it this year, but it doesn't seem like we've totally improved it as much as we could have from last year. I mean, this isn't Svi and Yuta and Malachi from last year. It's a different bench. It's a bit better, but in some ways it's still not as effective as we'd like it to be, and that we can still improve it for sure. G saying Godfather is back-to-back without Scottie. They could definitely give a good series. Yeah, we could totally give you guys a good series. You wouldn't sweep us, trust me. And this may very well work out this way. I don't know. You guys are number 1, so we don't necessarily want you guys. Right now, it's the Philadelphia 76ers. Let's go do a standings watch real quick. Philly is above Boston now in the 2nd seed. And so if we do get above Atlanta into the 8th seed and we play Miami in that playoff bracket and play-in bracket and we beat Miami in Miami, we would play the Philadelphia 76ers in the first round, a rematch of last year. And I'm okay with that. I really do kind of want to see the Sixers. Out of those top 3 teams, they may be the one that we have the best shot at in some ways. And we do want to get revenge. So I don't know. The fact that the Celtics have dropped out of the 2nd spot, they are tied. And it could very well be that they flip right back into the 2nd seed. But we'll have to monitor that with the Sixers and the Celtics and how they're flip-flopping a little bit right now. Very interesting. Godfather, just be careful what you wish for or what you think could happen. You can watch out because when you play the Raptors, it's not fun and not easy. And you guys were lucky you got us on a back-to-back last night. Nako's saying Precious can either be our smartest player or our dumbest player. I don't call it dumb what he does, though. Listen, he's so young. He's very, very young, and he's raw. And in some ways, he's way more polished than I thought he would be at this point. Seriously, like people have said in the last couple of days, Precious' first year in Miami was kind of wasted. He didn't play a whole lot. He came off the bench. They didn't use him right. They didn't let him do a lot of the things he's good at. He was kind of really in a box. When his second year last year, we unleashed him, and we saw all kinds of good things from him, but he's raw, and he does make potential mistakes and turnovers and stuff. I don't look at it that way. It's like I think his IQ is really high, and it's just that he has awkwardness to his game still, and he will look bad at times just because of the way he plays. But it's not because he's dumb. It's just that something bad happened, and like he maybe like got the ball stolen from him or something like that. I don't know. I think that he's so talented. It's really about his athleticism that is so attractive about him. Mike saying, chill with Will Barton is working out. He can make decisions with the ball decently. He has to ISO more from Scottie not being there. We want to still try it and not change things too much at the moment. We locked in and we're gelling. Yeah, I think I can go with what Mike's saying here. Maybe let's not overreact. Although his stats are really bad, Mike, so far. Like if you look at those field goal percentage overall, it's not good. Seriously, it's not good. Let me see. Let me go and look at Josh Lewenberg, and I'll tell you exact stats because he was making light of them last night, and they're not good. They're really not good. Where is it? Where's that one? No. Will Barton in 9 games with Toronto, 7 of 27 field goals, 4 of 16 for threes. Now, see, that's not bad. 4-16 doesn't sound totally horrible. The Raptors are minus 46 with him on the court. Nobody else is worse than a minus 29 over that span. And overall, the team is plus 22. So, yeah, those stats in some ways don't lie. The 7 of 27 is really bad. And then the minus 46 while he's out on the court, we're not winning when he's out there. So there's issues. There's issues. And I don't know. I'm kind of with Mike. It's too late in the season to really shuffle things too much. And we do kind of, in some ways, we may play him still a lot and not switch Malachi, like I said, just because we want to get him as many reps to gel as much as possible, just in case for playoff things that we need later on. So I can see what Mike's saying is probably right. He just needs to play way better. He needs to show us something. Shir Khan saying Raps kept Giannis in check for the most part, but the rest of the team made timely shots. Ingles and Lopez hit key threes to stop momentum for Toronto. Refs and replay center are so incompetent. No, they're competent. They're doing exactly what they want to do. That's not incompetence. That's very, very on purpose. Trust me. It's on purpose. I will agree with this. We really did do a good job on Giannis for most of the game. Like he really was frustrated at times. You saw him kind of like huffing and puffing and being a little annoyed because he couldn't do everything exactly like he wanted to. We dared him to shoot a 3 at one point and he hit it. And that was annoying to me. I was like, let him shoot that 3. And then damn it, he made it. It sucks. But this is true. We can contain Giannis and kind of hold him down, but Brook Lopez killed us. And then Chris Middleton really, really killed us in some ways, in big ways, like just hitting threes here and there. And the overall, like, good 3-point shooters on their team are just annoying. Like, they did really chip in with a lot of different people hitting threes at different times. You got a 3 from Giannis, as I mentioned, 5 from Middleton, 1 from Brook, 1 from Jrue Holliday, 2 from Bobby Portis. Those 2 from Bobby Portis are the ones we really don't want. Like, when Bobby Portis is hitting threes, that's annoying. Like, I don't like seeing him hit threes. I like seeing him brick them or airball them. That's much better. Carter hit a really big dagger 3 in the fourth quarter that kind of was the one that kind of like separated them finally at the end of the game to win the game for sure. That was a really bad one. That one in the corner where we left him and he hit that 3 was a dagger 3. And that was annoying. And then, of course, Ingles and Connaughton hitting the 3 threes between the two of them also. Yeah, that's really good. There's only one player on the Bucks that did not hit a 3, and he took 6 of them. He just didn't make any of them, Grayson Allen. But every single person on the Milwaukee Bucks makes 3s. They all make 3s. It's crazy. Crazy. Monique saying, thinking of you, Scottie, we're going to give the Pacers a beat down. That's right. We're coming in there and we're getting loud. That's right. Are we going in there and we're going to get loud? Are we going to go in there and get loud? Are we going to go in there and get loud? Yeah. We're going to go in there and get loud. Yeah, you can go. Yeah. G saying, the main gripe I have is that the Hawks lost in a very ugly fashion and Raptors could have taken the 8th seed. Think we can go on another streak. Yeah, that was opportunity. And like, this is where it really is mattering whether you win season series. Look, if we had beaten the Hawks 2 out of 3, we would have been in the 8th seed yesterday and everything would have been fine. But we did lose, so we went back down underneath. But we would have been up there for just a little while yesterday afternoon. But that's the thing. This sucks. We can't be tied with Atlanta. We have to be better than Atlanta to be above them in the seeding because we lost the season series to them. These season series matter way more with the parity of the NBA at this point. It is very likely that there's tiebreakers at the end of the NBA season now. So every single like season series you have against Eastern opponents matters, Raptors. And we really do need to try and key on making sure we win season series against Eastern Conference foes because these matter. This Atlanta Hawks record with them, that one shot AJ Griffin hit the last second. I went to the game at Halloween where we blew them out, absolutely destroyed the Hawks and kicked their ass. It was one of the best games this season. Then they went to Atlanta and got beat by a last second shot by AJ Griffin on a very bad lapse of judgment. And then this recent Hawks game, we got beat in a game that we could have won. It was kind of bullshit too. So it's like, yeah, that those games mattered. That we needed to win 2 out of 3 against the Hawks. And what's going on right now. Van Hoot's saying that logical Raptors fanatic, let's not act like he is a 23-year-old. It was a bad decisions and nothing wrong with calling out bad play. I want what is best for the Raps. That play needs cleaning up now. Yeah, I mean, in some ways, we can't allow for too many mistakes from Will Barton or bad play. You know, if Nick's holding everybody else to a high standard just because he showed up new, he can get away with it and be shitty on the court. No, fuck that shit. Give Malachi another shot or, you know, get Jeffrey up and let him get those backup point guard spots and just play him out for the rest of the season until maybe these games you don't play him every single game. I don't know. I think that they have the 905 guys really concentrating on this last 3 games, and that's why they're not around the team. But once they're done with the 2 games against the Greensboro Swarm, they'll be done because I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. And then it may be that we're using Jeffrey way more in April and the last couple weeks of the season with those games in April, starting with Philly. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how that goes. Let's see. Omari's saying at Nako, facts about Precious, such an enigma. Yeah, I don't know. Like in some ways, it's just that he's smiling. I don't think his head's down. Some people have put stuff out about him that like, oh, he's this or this. I don't get that. He's a smiley, happy guy, and he's confident. And I think people are misreading this situation right now with his DMPs and thinking that he's in a doghouse. He's actually not. There is a very much confidence in Precious. And it was shown last night by him getting put on Giannis Antetokounmpo. So, all right, let me see what else this guy's saying. I kind of want to see what this is saying just because. All right, Godfather's saying, if I was a Raptors fan, I would hope to get Philly. Harden chokes in the playoffs. The Bucks are juggernauts in the playoffs, and Giannis is different. Only team that beats the Bucks is the Celtics. All right, well, we will beat you if we get a chance. Like, I don't know if we'll beat you this year. But next year, we're definitely going to beat you next year. Watch. We're going to come around. I don't want you guys to win. I really don't. I was going to want you guys to win until you got Goran Dragic. But I hate Goran Dragic. And now I can't want you guys to win. So you won't have me rooting for you at this point. I would have rooted for you if you hadn't gotten Goran Dragic, just so you know. But yeah, now that you got Goran Dragic, fuck y'all. Fuck you, Milwaukee Bucks, piece of shit. Yeah, Godfather, whatever, man. I'll read your comments. You're right about Harden, though. I can get behind that. Listen, y'all can beat the Celtics. Please beat the Celtics. In some ways, you guys, I like y'all a little bit more than the Celtics. So if you do play the Celtics, beat them, okay? But I hate Goran Dragic. I can't have you guys win in the end. So I want the Western team to win this year. Fuck all the Eastern teams. None of y'all winning. I would have wanted y'all to win if y'all hadn't fucking gone and got Goran Dragic. So if you just had not done that, I would have rooted for y'all and said, yes, Milwaukee win. But I don't want y'all to win now because I don't want Dragic to ever fucking get a ring. So there you go. I'm going to be rooting for that Western team. Hopefully it'll be a good one that I can get behind and feel good about. Fun guy saying, I hear you, Ed G, and I hate to speak too early, but we have a really favorable schedule until the last 3 games against the Celtics and the Bucks. Yeah, we'll have to see, fun guy. This week's going to be telling. Let's protect the home. Let's protect the North, and let's see how we do from there. Let Me Cook saying the Godfather, Sixers are going to pass Bucks up as they are only 2 games back from number 1 seed. Embiid is 2-1 against Giannis this year, and he's going to win the MVP. He's taken everything Giannis worked for. All right, I love this. You know what? We found, all right, I forgot this. Let Me Cook is a Philly fan. He is never really kind of tipping his hat on where he is with this, but now he has. And he's talking shit in the Raptors channel towards a Bucks fan as a Sixers fan. I love this. We can get some of this cross rivalry in here where we kind of just watch Raptors freaks. And just say, well, okay, then. Let Me Cook has come up and said some things. And I like this. Let me see. I want to back this up real quick. Let's see what he's saying. The Godfather, Sixers are going to pass the Bucks up. Let me see how reasonable is this. 2.5 games. This is tough. Milwaukee is winning at a pretty good clip. You guys got a lot of work to do still if you're trying to get that absolute number one seed, Sixers Nation. That's going to be tough. We'll see. I mean, I don't say that you guys can't do it, but that may be really tough. Making up 2.5 games that's a lot more than it seems like it is. And then you're saying Embiid is 2-1 against Giannis this year. I believe that. Sixers have been really overpowering in different ways this year. And, in some ways, Giannis is tortured by the Raptors. I even saw it last night. Like, you can tell he hates playing us. He's absolutely hates having to deal with OG and Precious and Pascal and all the different looks we send at him and frustrate him and stymie him and stuff like that. He was looking like that at times last night. Like, Giannis was getting a little frustrated last night. So I don't know. Listen, I don't even know in this matchup. In some ways, I like the Sixers better just because I hate Goran Dragic so much. I do hate Joel Embiid. I really do hate him too. But in some ways, I really like Tyrese Maxey. And I do like James Harden now. I used to hate James Harden, but I like him now on the Sixers because he's playing unselfish. He's such a good point guard right now, getting so many assists. And he's just changed his game. And in some ways, I like people that have been maligned and kind of like been in a bad place, and they come back and they prove people wrong. And that's kind of who James Harden is to me at this point. So in some ways, I kind of like the Sixers more than the Bucks just because I really hate Dragic. But, oh, damn it, I hate Embiid too. Let's see what David said, but he retracted his messages. I'm sure he was slandering Joel Embiid pretty heavy right there, but we won't see it. Logical saying, Van Hoot, I understand, but reality this season was we had $5 million before luxury, and fixing a bench with that is tough. But ultimately, there's not enough time to change things, so we just have to roll as is. Yeah, we don't want to mix stuff up more now. The season's going to be over in 3 weeks. And we need to just continue for right now, get some cohesion and what we have and what we're trying to do right now. It's not a horrible look. Will's going to show up and have a good game at some point. I just wish it would be sooner, or it would have been last night. Jimmy's saying, Godfather, we're just trying to make the playoffs. It's all fun and games. We know our position, but it's fun to say we can win a series, even if it's tough. Got a ride for our team. Good game yesterday. Yeah, Jimmy, listen, Jimmy, we have no shame in what we're doing. We've had a very difficult season, and Milwaukee's had a very good season, and they've had a lot of good things happen to them. They're the number one team in the East and in the NBA. And in some ways, like I said, they were the best team. Listen, Godfather, I think y'all are the best team, at least from what I've seen this season. The Milwaukee Bucks are the best team in the whole entire NBA. I am saying that over the Celtics. I'm saying that over the Sixers. I'm saying that over all the Western teams. That you guys are the most complete and the best team in a lot of ways. And your record shows it. So there, I'm giving you respect. But I will tell you this. If we play y'all in a 7-game series, we're going to get at least 3 of them. And we will for damn sure try and get that 4th one. You asked the Boston Celtics about the bubble. Yeah, it'll be like that. If you face us in the playoffs in the first round, it will be very much like that Boston-Toronto series. Very, very even, very, very stressful, and very, very tough for y'all to get by us. We will take it very much to the very end of Game 7, right to the last second, if you play against us. You know that was what is going to happen. MSJ saying, I agree with Dowtin. Love his game as a backup. So you agree with Aaron Rose, who's all upset today that Jeffrey Dowtin has not been converted from his two-way to a full roster spot. And in some ways, I kind of agree with you guys too. But I think it would just cause too many waves as far as we'd have to lose a player, and we wouldn't get an extra player to fill in that spot. We just have one less player on our roster. We'd have to spend money we probably don't want to allocate with the salary cap. We can ask Mike about this. He probably knows. And it just doesn't make any sense probably at this point. Like, even though Aaron Rose is all upset and up in arms about it, it doesn't mean that it's feasible or realistic or smart. And trusting in Masai is better than trusting in Aaron Rose. We'll just put it that way. Smooth saying, yeah, a few of those shots that Barton took were in the flow of the offense. If 2 of those shots went in, it changes the game. Yeah. They weren't bad shots. I mean, I know you guys keep saying he was trying to be Kobe against Giannis, but a lot of his shots were open, and I wanted him to shoot them. I want him to be aggressive. They've got to go in, though. And it just didn't happen last night. It's too bad. It's too bad. I really want success for him because I want him to fit in. I want Raptors fans to be like, okay, we're glad he's on the team. But nobody's like that about it right now. Nobody is like that about it right now. Everybody's kind of like, what the fuck? Why is he shooting? Let's see. Where did it jump to? All right, I want to make sure I don't miss nothing. Yeah, Godfather's here quite a bit. All right, we'll see. If he's not too bad, I'll read his comments. But if he's pretty bad at some point, I'll kick him out. Damn, you guys really filled it up today. This is good. All right, let me see. La 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 la. G saying I know Fun Guy didn't want to speak too early either, but at that point, screw it. Van Hoot saying, y'all really saying that Jeff Dowtin would have done the same? We could have converted Jeff or had him in that game. He wouldn't have tried to go one-on-one versus the Greek. Not saying change, instead do better. Well, this is one thing I'll say to you guys about Jeff right now. Currently, he's not playing well right now. He was absolute dog shit on Saturday afternoon against Lakeland Magic. And he might be actually hurt, guys, on the down low. I think that's something that people don't know is Jeff Dowtin. It was in street clothes the other day. And I don't think it's necessarily totally just that he has very few games eligible to play for the Raptors. I think it's also that he has a lingering injury. He's playing hurt because he's not playing as well for the 905 in the last couple games against the Lakeland Magic. He did not look good, guys. So what I'll say is this. I think that may be part of it too. So don't expect Jeffrey to be a savior or much of an upgrade over what Will Barton's doing right now. Because, in fact, he may actually be hurt right now, just so y'all know. Godfather's saying, wait, but the Bucks won without Giannis. Who cares? Scottie went out. Win the game. Stop making excuses. Philly won't catch the Bucks. It smells like excuses to me. It's excuses. Excuses. Oh, whatever, man. Fuck you, man. Fuck you, Godfather. All right, let's see. I might read one more of your comments, but yeah, whatever, man. No, these are good excuses, motherfucker. You know, you need the NBA to prop you up and help you by giving you a trap game on the second night of back-to-back against us. If we were off, we had not had to play the Minnesota Timberwolves on Saturday night, we would have been more energetic and we would have beat y'all's ass at the end of the game last night, Milwaukee Bucks fan. Fuck you, Godfather. Yeah, we would have. We would have if we were not on the back-to-back. Y'all had 2 days off, and y'all lost to the Indiana Pacers on Thursday. And y'all, that's what you needed. You needed that help. You needed that help from the refs. You needed that help from the replay center. You need that help from the schedule. Yeah. Feel real proud. Feel real proud. No, you dodged a bullet, and you had some help too. That's right. G saying Scottie's big body and IQ would have helped a ton, especially during that Lopez run. Yeah, see, that's the thing. In some ways, Scottie should have been the backup center because in some ways he can kind of do some physical stuff with Lopez. At least he's another broad shoulders out there just to kind of throw his weight around for sure. Mike's saying, Van Hoot, I agree with you that it's not Will Barton's role to ISO Giannis, and that was an error by Will, but Scottie outchanged things. You need a comma, Mike. Scottie out, comma, changed things, and clearly we weren't ready to adjust as well as we should have. Yeah, I mean, in some ways that was throwing a little bit of improvisation in our lineup and how we were rotating guys with Scottie out all of a sudden. You know, Fred isolated Giannis and cooked him. Why didn't Will want to do it? Monique saying, Precious, keep pushing through. Very proud for all he's gone through. Heck, even Chris, Dowtin over everything, please. Okay, you want Dowtin. Well, I'm telling you, I think he's hurt. G saying, it matters that Scottie was out because they were undersized during that Lopez run. He went 8-0 with Jakob on the bench, and he plays, makes us well. And if he plays, it makes us well. Okay, that's not good English. Jimmy saying, get this dude out of here. I tried to be nice, but I don't want to ruin this guy's day. Jimmy, you're positivity. You just stay positive. We'll take care of this. Don't worry. G saying, OG needs more shots. Damn, OG, he's looking so nice right now. I agree with this. OG is looking badass on both ends of the court. Van Hoot saying, logic, he's a vet. He knows to not ISO against Giannis 6 times. That's common sense. 3rd time wasn't a charm. Maybe don't do another 3. Maybe pull up the defense and pass the ball. Nick said he was a backup point guard. Now, every single one of his shots wasn't an ISO against Giannis. Let's be fair here, Van Hoot. There may have been a couple of plays where he did do that, but some of those were just like 3-point shots that he was taking from the outside that he missed. So let's not overcharacterize that he was trying to beat Giannis every single time down the court, because that's simply not true. There may have been a couple times that he did. All right, we're gonna give him one more. Let's see what he said, and then maybe I'll be like, fuck off. Let's see. Godfather's saying your team is hot garbage water. Okay, yeah, he's done. He's done. I'm not even gonna read the rest of it. All right, you are done and you are out of here. You are gone. All right, never to come back. You know, if you're a civil fan of another team, like let me cook, you can hang out and I will let you cook. But if you're just a fucking asshole like this, and saying Spicy P, not him, Bucks would kill this team in the playoffs, motherfucker, just keep talking. You ain't proved nothing with nothing. We're buck killers, motherfucker. And every single time y'all have played us in the playoffs, I think it's like 3 or 4 times now in the history of our franchises, we put your asses out. You've never beaten the Toronto Raptors in the postseason. So continue to stew on that, Godfather. You never fucking beaten us. And who got our championship first? We got our championship before y'all got your fucking championship recently. So yeah, motherfucker, keep talking shit and you'll find out real quick. Yeah, I fuck the Bucks, motherfucker. Yeah. All right, let's see. Mike is saying VanVleet, it was exhaustion, ISO possessions. The team was gassed and couldn't run actions. We blame Fred for the same thing, but it's a stamina thing. And having one guy use energy lets others catch the air. Listen, I'm not going to stand up for Will like you are right now, Mike. I agree with you as far as we need to continue to use him just because we need him to get more familiar and play better with us. But he has to play better. VanVleet is right, and he needs to play smarter because he is a vet and he should know better. So both of y'all are right to a degree. I'll get behind you on as far as he should continue to keep playing, but he should definitely be playing way better than he is right now. So I will say that from both sides. Fun guy saying, this is what Denver fans were warning us about. His shot selection. Every time I got hyped for Will, Denver fans would come at me to warn me that he's really bad. And so far, he's worst plus minus on the team. Okay. So Denver fans are like not unhappy to see him leave. And like, you know, in some ways they love him for certain things in his time there. But in some ways they also understand how he's inefficient. Okay. Well, they warned us. That's good to know. G saying to Godfather, your team is older. Jrue's 32. Lopez 34, Middleton 31. The Raptors are much younger with no starter over 30. Enjoy it while it lasts. Yes, G. Yes. Let's get that little tea and I'll have a little sip by the window. Yes, serve that tea, please, G. Please serve that tea. VanVleet saying logic. There's zero excuse. Pascal and others were on the court. Know your matchup. Going up against Giannis to let others catch air 6 times isn't logical. You're painting me like I'm a hater. I'm not. I don't think you're a hater on this, VanVleet. And if Mike's painting you like that, I don't think he's trying to say that. I think he's just trying to stand up for Will Barton. He really likes this acquisition. And in some ways, I understand, and I like it too. But in some ways, I'm like, it's not panning out right now. And I don't like it for that. But listen, I think VanVleet's right in some ways, Mike. There isn't any excuse for him like taking so many shots when he's that cold, and especially some of the degree of difficulty shots. I think the threes were fine. Like, what did he shoot? He shot how many outside? The threes were fine. The 2 threes were fine. They were just misses. It's the other 4 shots. So VanVleet, be fair. It's not him going at him 6 times. He took 2 3-pointers outside, and those were open and fine for him to shoot. It's really the drives that you're talking about. Callie's saying everything Pascal is double teamed. He should look for OG right away instead of forcing it. His passing needs to improve. Yep, I can get behind what Callie's saying there. And we saw it in recent games. It just didn't happen last night in crunch time in ways that we would have liked. I would love to see OG taking big threes right at the end of the game to take us home. He is a really good weapon for that. And I agree. Or Gary Trent. Exactly. Click saying our offense is just so bad. Our depth is non-existent. I'm just so tired of watching the same thing over and over again. It's not about luck. Simply don't have shooting and half-court shot creators. Well, in some ways, I'll disagree with you, Click. I feel like our offense has been working so much smoother recently, and a lot of it does have to do with Jakob. And, our shooting percentages have been very good in games recently. Like, think about it this way, Click. Earlier in the season, we would shoot from 30% to 40% in games. Well, now we're shooting at least 40%, if not 50% in games. So we're definitely shooting way better than we were in the middle and the beginning of the season. So there has been improvement on this. Our offense is much, much better. In fact, the stats show it. We have a higher points per game average for our team scoring in games now. It's gone up. Like games we're scoring now, like 120, 110 to 120 more often and easier than earlier in the season. So I'll disagree with a little bit of that. Now, Click, can you see how we did battle toe to toe with Milwaukee pretty good last night? And that we did have a chance, even with all the factors kind of against us, that, we hung in there. We gave a good effort and we were battling. Look, they were hot. It's not like Milwaukee was having an off night. They came out and they were hitting threes right away. And we ran with them and hung with them. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. So I'm not upset with the offense last night. I thought it was pretty good. Of course, it didn't show up in the fourth. And that was a very important time. And that was the worst part about the offense. And maybe that's what you're talking about. But I wouldn't say that about the whole entire game. The offense was working really good. We got 39 points in the third quarter. That offense must have been doing something good in the third quarter. Mike's saying we were trying to buy time for the starters and just hold things without Scottie and others gassed. It was ugly, not gonna lie. You're not hating. In my opinion, I know it's a point that's been brought up by others and explains Will. Okay, Mike. Yeah. G saying Raps went 14 of 34 from three versus the Bucks, 16 of 45. Our 3-point shooting has improved and will get better and better. Yeah, I agree with that. G. Blackhawks here. Good to see Blackhawk. The only slap on the hand that I will give to Pascal is the threes he took. After he got his first three, he shouldn't have taken one more in that quarter and done his work in the paint. No room for errors. In some ways, I disagree with this Blackhawk because in some ways he'll find more room on the outside than he will going in. They're really going to come and double and collapse on him, and he's just not finding the outside shooter when the double team comes. And that's what I have a problem with when he goes inside. I like that they were going to Jakob inside and trying to let him get high percentage shots down low because he's more likely to make it through the contact and the fouling than Siakam is. It's just a thing like with the height and the strength. So I don't know. I mean, I kind of agree with you in some ways. They were definitely getting slapped around. You could hear it. You could definitely hear it. G's saying Raps also didn't have a center last game. They now have a 7-footer after the trade deadline. Every team with a good big was having an easier time versus the Raptors. They're not the same team now. This is a very good point. There's so many games this season where we got burned by big men, and that contributed to why we lost to some games. And if we'd had Jakob all along, there may have been some differences in our record because some of those games would have gone our way just because of the factor of him negating the big man advantage for the other team. That's a very good point by G. And that kind of shows like it's true. Our record would be way better if we'd had him from the beginning of the season. Really would be. Van Hoot saying saving time is an excuse. Run plays going repeatedly against your worst matchup doesn't help and makes you work harder on defense. Critique is perfectly fine. Biggest room we all have is improvement. You go, Van Hoot. And I have no problem with his critique of Will Barton today. I want you to be fair, though, and say it wasn't just all up against Giannis. He was missing shots that he had more open. In some ways, what I'm saying is worse because he had wide open ones that he wasn't fighting against that he missed also. Michael's here. Good to see Michael Fulano. Man, I don't know what it is with Siakam selling in the fourth quarter. Shaking my head. I wish he was more effective at the end of games. I wish he was just make these baskets. But we've learned, like I said, I don't think we can go count on him for this. We really need to use him as a decoy. That's the smarter thing to do. Go ahead and do what you do, but make sure he's passing it. Because as soon as he starts to come up with it, he's getting slapped on the arms. He's losing it. It goes out of bounds, and there's no call. There's no whistle. And boom, they have the ball, and they're coming at against us. We get nothing. So that's what I'm saying, Siakam. You're coming to the well, and you're coming up with nothing in these very important late game possessions. And we can't have that, especially when y'all aren't getting back on defense and you're letting the other team score and you're not getting stops. Meanwhile, you come back down and you're not getting a foul because Zach Zarba is not going to help you. And then boom, we just have the ball and then turn it over and they get the ball and they go back and they score again. And yeah, I'm with you, Michael, on that. Let's see. Logical Raptors fanatic saying, Van Hoot, we have been fair. I just wanted to provide balance. Yeah, I think that somebody should stand up for Will a little bit. And I like Mike doing this because other games with Will, he's played well for us. In my opinion, letting this game paint the whole picture isn't fully correct from what's been. All right, Mike, so awkward. the wording. But I get what you're saying. He has had some okay games, but he hasn't really had a good game yet, Mike. Let's be fair. He's been okay. He's been placeholder. He's been all right, but he has not stepped up and shown anything like I want to see a burst of scoring like Gary Trent would do. Like he has that in him. He's that kind of guy where all of a sudden he's got like 10 points in 5 minutes. Where is that? That's what I want to see, Mike. That's what I'm waiting for. David saying, I'm a fun guy. I agree, fun guy. Let him eat shit. Let's make him eat shit. Wait, when did fun guy say that? That's pretty crazy. I don't even see that comment at this point. All right. Van Hoot saying, I'm not saying he is trash. I'm saying he can do better. Yeah. I'm with him. Expect that you can do better with context. Raptor Freak. Jrue took several years off to take care of his wife who had cancer. Dude is a straight up G. You can tell. He's just a quality guy, man. He's a dude that you'd want on your team. Anybody would be happy to have him. He's very underrated. Some people would say, like, in some ways, he's like the second best Buck after Giannis. I'm totally with you on this. I'm more and more impressed knowing what you just told me. I didn't know that. Yeah, I already knew he was a good dude. I've heard him in interviews and just the way he is. He's just a good quality person all around. Jrue Holliday. Wayne saying, glad to see Precious getting his groove back. OG is getting offensively consistent and overall good team cohesion. Pascal needs his touches, but must consistently pass out from double, triple teams. Yes, and yes to all what Wayne's saying here. I was really happy to see Precious get a time and get out there and get a good chunk in the rotation, and he was very effective in different ways, and I appreciate that about him. I love him to be more aggressive. I want him to shoot threes. I want him to get that first step down on the floor and put the ball on the court and attack the rim. I want him to do all the stuff he's done this year that has been really awesome. Let Me Cook saying, get that deer out of your mouth. See, we're letting Sixers fan talk now, but Godfather, you're out because you weren't civil enough. You went too immature with the attacks. There's no point. This is a Raptor space, and we allow you to be here. We allow a lot of different fans of other teams come in here. We've got Celtics fan, we got Sixers fan. Let Me Cook. We have a Philly fan. We have so many different fans. I said Philly fans. Brooklyn fans comes in here sometimes too. We'd see Bucks fan from time to time, but we hadn't seen y'all since last year until today. And this is very interesting. Blackhawks saying the Godfather, Pascal doesn't need to be him. This is a team sport. The team needs to limit their mistakes because they score enough. This whole thing about him, who's him and all this stuff is so stupid. Whatever. It is what it is. Jimmy Pope's saying, nah, just Giannis meet. Apparently he's not a Bucks fan, laughing my ass off. All right. Mike saying, Van Hoot, you're good. Your points are solid. I'm big on reasoning and intent. Some things I see. I sometimes see things differently. As for other factors, from just good basketball environment and circumstance are key for me. Mike. I'm glad you guys are agreeing and that you can kind of see each other's points of view from the other side. That is so mature and adult, and I appreciate that. Van Hoot saying, we weren't getting KD without Barnes, and financially that would have meant way more of depleting a bench. So not the best move. Logical Raptor smack may be other things, but the one you gave ain't it. Okay. All right, you're replying to him. So he's talking about KD and the Barnes thing. Yeah, that was silly. Yeah, that wasn't going to happen. And in fact, I'm glad we didn't get KD. Look, where is he for Phoenix right now? Phoenix, he's hurt, and he's fool's gold. Everybody wants KD or thinks KD is going to make you get a championship. He's fool's gold. You go ahead and get him and see how it is. I'm glad we dodged that bullet. Nameless is saying that collusion of the league to design a failing season for the Raptors is clearly a real thing. Yeah, in a lot of ways, it's true. They see the strength and the possible things that we're building with our team. And they went so far as like, we're going to chop the nuts off of defensive teams in this league just because one of the teams is really good is the Raptors. There's probably other defensive teams like us. They're like, yeah, we don't like these teams being more powerful. So if we build our team with a defensive build and they change the league so it's more offensive oriented, yeah, they're trying to clearly stymie the team build of certain teams that are defensive oriented. And that's a very specific way that they're manipulating things and make it harder for teams that already build a certain way. They saw what we could do last season in the beginning of the year. And they're like, we need to chop the nuts off on the Raptors. They're too overpowering. They're going to win way more than we want them to. So how can we water down defenses and make them worse? So in the offseason, they changed some of the rules and they chopped the nuts off the defense. That is the most clear concerted way that the NBA has hurt the Raptors. And I know it's hurt other teams also, and it's hurt the game in general. A lot of people are upset that the defense in the NBA doesn't matter anymore, that there's two sides to the NBA. There's the offense and the defense. But because of the culture of the NBA at this point, offense matters so much more that they want to put this on the back burner, and they're killing the defensive side of things in the NBA. That's a fucked up thing. And then once again, we'll say this schedule that they gave us this year is fucked. You go ahead and look at our schedule, Milwaukee fan. You tell us if you think it's fair. You look at what we did at the beginning of the season. Philly fan knows. He was here. He saw what we had to do at the beginning of the season. He came and saw us twice right away. And that's the thing. The schedule is so fucking asinine and crazy with what they've done to us. The very stacking very hard teams at the beginning of the season, stacking very hard teams at the end of the season, making us fucking play these crazy road trips in weird ways, making us play all our games against the Brooklyn Nets before December 15th, making us play all our games against the Knicks within a very small period of like a month. That is all fucked up weird shit. And it's not a balanced schedule. That we had so many 2-game series against teams, way more than other teams. The Knicks played 1 2-game series against one team like we did this year. We played like 8 or 9 of these 2-game series. We have to play the same damn team 2 games in a row. So there's all kinds of weird, funky kind of weird things about the schedule that that contributed to why the Raptors were so mid this season also. And you can say, oh, I'm making excuses and all this stuff. This is the damn reality. Seriously. Meanwhile, Milwaukee, you might have got like all these rolled out red carpets for you this whole season. Yes, we want Giannis to be a superstar, a golden boy, a marketable person that we make money off of. Let's make them good. Let's make them have a nice schedule. Let's prop them up. There's a lot of that going on. Trust me. Let's see. Wayne's saying Bucks just don't scare us. Some teams we have to play 80 to 90% perfect, but Bucks ain't one of them. Will was disappointing, but he's a veteran. He's not coming here to be bad. Show him love. There you go, Wayne. I like that. Standing up for a Raptor, even though he's struggling. Yeah, I think this is true. In some ways, you guys do not scare us, Milwaukee, Godfather. You guys do not scare us the same way that maybe we are worried about the Celtics. You do not scare us the same way that maybe we're worried about the Sixers. You guys don't. You really don't. You don't have a track record of success against us. So we don't take you as seriously as the other Eastern top teams. Trust me, we don't. We don't take you as seriously. Maybe we should. But in some ways, we're like, yeah, we can beat y'all. We really can. G saying, for none Bucks fan, why are you fanboying for them so much? Now, kindly shut the fuck up or be respectful. There you go, G. David saying, thank you. Lux saying, he doesn't have a team. He's a lost boy. He's not a Bucks fan? Well, what is he? Why is he here then? I don't know. I don't even want to delete his messages so I can know. I don't care. Van Hoot, fair to disagree, to agree to disagree. We could go into even more, but everything has been said for the most part. No shade, all respect. Respect the Van Hoot. Yes, respect the Van Hoot. A great YouTube contributor also, just like Mike and I. All of the respect in the world for Van Hoot. Let's see. Van Hoot's also saying Barnes being hurt should have led to Loco getting some minutes last night, but he did not. I still think Van Hoot, that wasn't a good matchup. He's not a good matchup with the Bucks specifically, and Precious really is. Like in some ways, we acquired Precious to take care of Giannis. In some ways, I could say that this is part of the logic of why we would want Achua, is that very much is for defense on Giannis in some ways. All right, there's a fucking siren coming by. There's always, I live in a neighborhood where they have the fire trucks and the ambulances route through because it's like a very common area. There's a lot of police too. So anyway, all right, enough of that. Lux is saying Bucks don't impress me. They're frauds. I love that. Lux, you go, Lux. Yes, Lux, coming in strong. Jimmy's saying, like, dude, why are you here? I laugh my ass off. You got anything better to do on a Monday morning? I know, really. Why? Seriously, that's fine. Come on in here. You know, I'm not even hearing you anymore. You're nuts to chopped. Mike is saying, I think ultimately the background the backup point guard issue is the problem with tanking. Flynn should have been ready by now, but didn't grow properly enough in Tampa, and the delay has created serious roster issues. Not gonna lie. Well, I can understand this. This is something I didn't even think about, Mike. And this makes sense that because Malachi has not developed as quickly as we'd like, or been as capable or consistent as we'd like, that's just hurt us. And maybe he needs to go away this summer. Yeah, maybe he needs to go away this summer. You're right, Mal. I didn't even think about it this way. That on this schedule, yeah, he should be a capable backup by now. He's been with our team for 3 years. What the fuck, Malachi? Yeah, this is bad. This is bad. The way you put that, Mike, just really kind of painted the picture. This is what we needed from him. This is what we needed you to develop into a good, consistent backup point guard. You did not do that, Malachi. So if we see what happens with you this summer, I won't be upset. If you're still around and we're throwing more money at you or something like that, I may be like, what the fuck is going on with Malachi? Nameless is saying, we lost the game when Scottie left injured, I promise. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I mean, you could say that, Nameless, but I could say we lost that game when the schedule maker made the schedule at the very, last summer, before we even played any games this season. We lost that game as soon as they scheduled it the way they did, with the back-to-back and the travel and the rest for them. It's easy that you can say that and point to that. That's just consistent with a lot of things. It was the same thing on the West Coast trip, that these teams we played, the LA teams in Denver, had 2-game rest before we came and saw them. So they would very purposely give them 2 days rest before they have to play the Raptors if they want the team to beat the Raptors. Leslie's saying, good morning, fam. Out of curiosity, which other sport has this many back-to-backs? I know baseball does, but it's not as physical. I don't know. I don't pay enough attention to the NHL season. Do they play a lot of back-to-backs in hockey? I don't think they do. Do they? I don't remember them playing a lot of back-to-backs. But then again, I do not pay any attention to it. Obviously, football does not do back-to-backs. And baseball does a ton of back-to-backs. In fact, they do double headers sometimes where they play 2 games, but they can get away with it. This is a big thing that Paul Jones has been championing this whole season, that he wants to get rid of the back-to-back. That he thinks that the back-to-back is a big problem with the NBA schedule, that creates unfair advantages in certain ways throughout the whole season. And I agree with him. If they could figure out how to do this and do this correctly with the schedule, it makes the logic puzzle of making the NBA schedule even more difficult. But if they could figure out how to do this, they would probably be really good for the league in a couple ways. It'd be good for making it more fair as far as these kind of things like what we're talking about today, with the advantage that Milwaukee had inherently in the game last night. It could make things better with maybe load management issues where guys won't be getting hurt as much. And then you won't see guys miss a game because there's 2 games on 2 nights and they have to choose between one night for like an aged vet like Kawhi Leonard. And they're saying, oh, we don't want him to play on Tuesday and Wednesday, so he has to sit Tuesday and we'll play him on Wednesday night. There's a lot of that this season too, where they have to pick one game between 2 in a back-to-back, and the superstar only plays in 1 game. Well, you get rid of back-to-backs, and then you don't have this issue. So I'm very much with Paul Jones on his putting forth this idea of maybe this is how we can fix some problems in the NBA. I think if they could do it, they should. But I don't know if it's realistic. It may not be possible because it's just they have to have them sometimes. Maybe they lessen them, or maybe there's not so many of them. Van Hoot saying, I've been saying we need offensive initiation for how long? I mentioned it before, and I heard excuses from everyone. Why do you think I keep saying this draft is key for future offensive initiation? You mean like just getting in the paint and making things happen? I feel like we have these kind of people. It's just that we haven't been utilizing it in the correct way for most of the season. Now, when they're playing off each other, there's so much more good happening. Obviously, Jakob has been a big stimulus to this. He has caused more playing off each other, obviously, and that's good. So you want somebody then go in the lane and draw attention and kick it out or something like that. I feel like Fred does that to a degree. I don't know, Van Hoot. I understand you're down on the offense for our team, but I think it is rounding out and getting better as we get into the later part of the season right now. I think it's actually finally showing up at this point. So give it a little bit more of a chance right now. Nako saying, I don't know if I can think of a beefier team than Milwaukee. Yeah, I don't know. They are pretty big, but in some ways, I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. That may be true. I don't know. In some ways, Philly's very big too, with Embiid and some of their big guys on that team also at this point. I don't know. We'll have to see. It doesn't. Not that this matters. I mean, we got some good beef now too on our team. We're a big team at this point with Jakob. Isaac saying, I will 100% take the Bucks first round. Missing Scottie's length on defense on Lopez was the game. It was otherwise close, and our star players didn't even play their best. Pascal did, and I thought Fred was fantastic, and Gary was okay. OG was great. Yeah, I like what Isaac's saying here. I'm all about this. He believes in us, and I think he's right. I think that we would have done better if Scottie had not gotten hurt. And I would love to play Milwaukee in the playoffs. You really want that, Milwaukee? You watch out, Godfather. You may get what you don't want. That's right. Mike's saying, Van Hoot, you have, but it's not easy fix. All right, the back and forth got to stop. You guys have kind of like wringed all the water out of the subject. This is just a dumb subject at this point, Mike. Just let it go. I like hitting a topic for just a sec and then moving to the next one. You are drawing out this Will Barton shit way too long. Let's just put it that way. It's not an easy fix. Plays defense and initiates offense and shoots threes. Has experience with read and react. With sort fits. Okay, whatever, Mike. I don't care. G saying, since Jakob, Fred now averages 10 assists or close to a game. Yeah, that's a good added bonus to Fred's assist game, looking better. David saying, when Scottie hit that three, Fred made one of the nicest touch passes I've seen from him. I know I have my up and downs with Fred, but in the last 5 games, I've been watching a different player. That's awesome. I love that David's allowing himself to open his eyes to things that maybe he didn't see, and maybe amending a little bit of his opinion on certain people. I know David's been critical of Fred this year. Not anything like anybody, the true Fred hater, but in some points he has been really on him. Jakob obviously fits very well with the team. Didn't take long. Yeah. And if he had just played a little bit better, he would have helped us win too. Cool Cat saying, like Masai said, next year we have to be 3-point shooters. That's the change in the league. It's now a weapon that we have to be great at. Next year, Pascal, Scottie need 3-point shooting of all varieties for a chip. That's the thing. They worked on it last summer already. So they're already ahead on this in some ways because they wanted to last year. And Siakam's 3-pointer has gotten better and better. I thought maybe his 3-pointer was better last year, though, in some ways, because he maybe took more of them last year. It doesn't seem like he's taken as many this year for some reason. Scottie's definitely going to improve his 3-point shot, too. And that this is true. This is a key. These two guys in particular, because they're high usage, and if they get to be better 3-point shooters, it will really, really improve the Raptors. It really will. Cowboys here. Good to see Bradley. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Got to go, but everyone have a blessed day. I still believe in this team. Let's go, Raptors. You go, Bradley. Ta-da. For all your needs around the house, you need painting done, you need cleaning, you need something big and heavy moved, and you need some help with it. You can call Ta-da. They're in the phone book. They'll come down to your house and help you with whatever job you got. David's saying he's a vert. He's a vert. Yes, however, he's a shooting guard, small forward. You mean Will Barton? Well, he can play point guard. He self-identifies as someone who can play point guard. He said he can play the 1, the 2, or the 3 when he came in. So him playing point guard is not out of the question. Maybe his better spot is the 2. That may be true. I can maybe get behind that. Monique is saying, give Sheer a mod for his great comments. Where is Sheer? I can't see him. Is he saying stuff and I can't see it for some reason? I might have to do that. David's saying, I want us to use a point guard as the point guard, not a vet who is a shooting guard or small forward. It wasn't a good look, in my opinion. Okay, I can kind of see that. I mean, but is Malachi the better opportunity, David? Well, maybe he is. Maybe Delano, if he was healthy, would be the better person. Leslie saying, overall, the Raptors competed really hard the whole game. I can be okay with a loss like this. We've had so many close losses. We could have 10 more wins. This is true. Leslie, this is so true. And if you think about all the different places where things were either robbed or just miscues or bad mistakes, mental lapses at the end of the game, yeah, our record could be way different right now. In fact, we could be, honestly, if we really think about it, and she's right, if we had 45 wins, we'd be right next to Cleveland at 4th in the Eastern Conference. If things had actually gone smoothly and not some of the ref hit jobs and kind of the bullshit that's happened. Scott Foster in Denver, that's a win we should have had. That should be a win in our column right now. Let's see. Mike saying Will is supposed to be a combo guard for us with Scottie as a point forward and Gary shooting heavy, pushing Gary into the starters and no Scottie changed the way that unit has been operating the 4th. Okay. Everyone has been right today on Will. He needs to be better. Last night he was really bad. And at the same time, I see what the vision is for the bench at the moment with more practice reps with Will should be enough. I just want to see him get more success. I don't mind giving more of a chance. I want Masai to be right about making this acquisition. I want Bobby to look good. And I don't want him to fail. But right now he's failing, is what I'm saying. Van Hoot's saying this is why people wanted Dowtin to get his earned money. Yeah, this is crazy too. Like, I feel bad because in some ways this whole season I predicted Dowtin will get converted, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen. But in some ways I may have been right that Dowtin needed to be converted, that Aaron Rose is right, and that Van Hoot is right in this instance. And that may be true. Like, I predicted this at the beginning of the season. I said Dowtin needs to be converted from two-way and be on our roster for the playoffs. We're going to need him. He's that kind of player. Well, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. And I may have been right, even though. And then maybe one of the things where we can say this is a fuck up. It's really going to depend on what Barton does. Like, he could do some amazing things in the playoffs and be like, okay, we were wrong. We're glad we played Will Barton and he was the guy instead. So we'll have to see how it pans out. Right now, it's still the season. Let's see what happens in the play-in and see if he steps up then. Mike's saying, Van Hoot, I know what you're saying. Decision of $1 million in Dowtin versus $1 million for Wieskamp and Barton. Not gonna lie, it was the right decision. Paying luxury to use Dowtin a couple extra games didn't make sense logically. That makes sense. That makes sense what Mike's saying too. At this point, you're gonna pay a premium for something that's like for just a few games. In some ways, that doesn't make any sense. And Mike knows this stuff. This is really his bread and butter as far as what he covers on his YouTube channel. So he will know the ins and outs of what exactly is possible realistically and what we would have had to give up to convert Jeff Dowtin from his two-way. Wayne's saying definitely not fretting about extra games and play-in. At this point in time, the more games played, the better we play. Will Barton was crucial to our win against the Wolves. Show him some love. I like that Will Strainer is really standing up for Will Barton in some ways. He's going even extra further than Mike is. Him and Mike are kind of the Will stands. And then we've got some people that are being very critical of him, but I appreciate Wayne standing up for him. And I really do like that. And I think you're right. Now, if we have to play a couple of play-in games, I'd rather just play one. A couple of play-in games, that means we lost one. And I don't necessarily want to do that. I want to win just the play-in game, get in, and that's it. But if we're in the bottom part, we got to win twice. And that's the tough thing. Van Hoot's saying, hang on, it jumped. There's a lot of comments. I'm really happy to see everybody here on a Monday after a loss. All right, let's see. I want to make sure I get the right part. All right, here we are. We're right here. If you need Van Hoot's saying if you need a backup guard in playoffs, assuming that is the plan, then Barton would have been ideal. Also, to be honest, I've called for Flynn to be traded for since November or October, but y'all cuss me out. No, I didn't cuss you out on that. I'm okay with that. I would never cuss you out on Malachi. Malachi, I'm okay with getting traded. He's the one person on this team I would be okay with him being traded for like the last 2 years. I have not been a big fan of Malachi. We definitely didn't cuss you out for that. We don't stand up for Malachi in that kind of way. He is not ingratiated or done enough for our team for me to feel like he's so untouchable that we can't trade him. I'd definitely trade him. Will you get something for him? I'd trade him. Yeah, I would have traded him in October. You damn right. No, I'm with you, Van Hoot. No, trust me, I'm with you. And all right, Nako's saying Joel and Harden should be better duo than Chris and Giannis. In some ways, I agree. I mean, Harden is a better player than Chris Middleton. He has the much better history and all kinds of crazy stuff that he's done in his career. And Joel and Giannis are pretty even. So maybe I can get behind that, Gerald. That's a pretty good opinion. Van Hoot saying Dowtin, not Barton. Yo, you meant Dowtin up above. COVID messed up our whole scouting, hence why we ended up with Flynn instead of Bane. Anyways, I'm out. I have to get going. You go, Van Hoot. Have a great Monday. Hope you get a really good start to your week. The sun is shining, and it looks like a nice day here in Toronto. Okay, yeah, I think that you're right. It had a shortened season, off season after the bubble playoffs, and it was really quick. And we got Flynn in a whirlwind of like 2 months. They crammed the whole freaking off season into the fall of that year. And that would have been a great choice instead. Desmond Bane for Malachi Flynn at that point. Oh yeah, yeah. If we could have that one back, I would definitely be on that one too. Even though I don't really like Bane's attitude. But otherwise, yeah, he's a good player. He's much better than Flynn. Mike's saying, Van Hoot, I hear you about Flynn. I think whoever we try to bring in, it will take time to fully be effective in the system. So nothing was going to be a quick fix in a way. No money, we had to wait. Listen, Flynn knows our system better than Will Barton, because he really is like Fred's understudy, but it's just not translating. He's not becoming what he should be. And in some ways, I'm very much with VanVleet on how he feels about Flynn. Let's see. Mike's also saying we had to wait for the ROS value to get the money low enough to get a 10-plus year vet on a min, which probably was the Band-Aid for this year on the backup point guard spot. Next year, we're looking at Dowtin, etc. Yeah, I hope it is Jeffrey, because he would make me feel a lot more confident. Because I do feel like that VanVleet's right, that it is Jeffrey Dowtin. It's just that with the contract situation going in the end of the stretch run here, it just doesn't make sense financially to convert him, even though he may very well be on a roster next year as the backup point guard right away. It's so crazy. Fun guy saying G with that mic drop comment. Laugh out loud, but very true. Yeah, which one was the G comment? Oh, man, I'm so behind on all this stuff. But G's always awesome. We love G. VanVleet saying, I like Will Barton as an acquisition, but Raptor Freak, as you said, it hasn't panned out. That is all. There have been moments. We really need an offensive initiator on the bench, and that would Otto's toe would have helped it. Yeah, Otto being there was a part of this too. In some ways, we're putting Will Barton in that category with Otto. It's like, this really sounds good, and it sounds good in paper. It should have been this and this, but is the reality coming through with the acquisition? No, it's not. The reality did not come through with Otto Porter Jr. this year. The reality is not coming through for Will Barton right now, and that is the issue. VanVleet and I are very much on the same page right here. It just hasn't panned out yet, Mike. We have to see results. That's what we want. Monique saying, good. Still hearing Matty D calling out OG for 3. Never stop. That's right. Or for a defensive player of the year. Yeah, you go, Monique, for sure. Trevor's saying, good morning. We run out of gas last night, but it was a good game. The Raptors fight, and that's all we ask for. They played a number 1 team in the East and was neck and neck with them. Yes, Trevor J. Shine a light and tell the truth. This is all very true. We were neck and neck with them. We were playing on a second night of back-to-back. You know, if we'd had a full energy team, in some ways, we very well could have beaten them on their own court last night if we weren't on the second night of a back-to-back, and there wasn't any bullshit with the refs. Country Kong saying, good morning, Raptors freaks. What an absolutely scintillating performance we saw last night. It felt like Game 6 intensity. I truly thought we were going to shock the Bucks. Great game to watch. I really did too. Like, really right up until the fourth quarter started, and I saw the fuckery from Zach Zarba. I was like, we're going to win this game. We could win this game. We're going to win. I felt it. I felt the momentum. I felt the runs going the right way. I felt we were playing well. We were matching them and beating them overall. And then, boom, up by 6 at the beginning of the fourth, gets 8 up, and then they go further. And it really is a little bit of hand-holding with the referees and the whistle and giving them a free throw trips and none for us. Not a single damn free throw for us, hardly at all in the fourth quarter. Very fishy, very fishy. Let's see. But thanks for being here, Country Kong and Trevor. Good to see you guys. David is saying scintillating, adjective, sparkling or shining brightly, the scintillating sun. Yes, I love that. David dropping the Roget's thesaurus or the Webster's dictionary here. Yes, David, you go. He's either mad or educational. He's either mad or educational. I love it. Mike saying, Will's been okay. Facts, Lex. I've seen plays. He's been making it on both ends. Yes, there are some issues, but I see it working at times with Will. Like bench offense is more structured than 10. It's just Mike, I don't care, bro. Listen, I'm going to be critical of him right now. This is the whole thing, and this is what VanVleet is saying too. The thing is, we need an offensive scorer. We need people to fill the basket up. We need another Gary Trent Jr. We need another guy who can do that. He's not doing that. I don't give a shit about the defense. I don't give a shit about the playmaking. I don't give a shit about him fitting in with the system more and more. I want him to make buckets. That's all I give a shit about. I want Will Barton to put the ball through the hoop and make some points for the Raptors. That's the only thing I fucking want from him right now. He can play all that other stuff. Of course, I know he'll do that. He's a pro. He's a vet. I need him to make his shots is what I need him to do. Fun guy saying, oh, Lex, this is awkward because I genuinely think the Suns with KD are going to win the championship. I just don't see a team that can beat them other than the Celtics maybe. No. Why, fun guy? Do you believe in DeAndre Ayton? I don't. That motherfucker's going to give up on that team. KD is not – I'm not going to say a bad word. He has something about him that he'll never win another championship. And there's certain issues with him, and that's why. I mean, I don't want to say it exactly, but in some ways, he's just destined to never win again. It's partly because of who he is and what he's done with his decisions and choices with changing teams so much. That in some ways, when you do that, you don't win because you're never somewhere too long. And if you notice, since he left Golden State, all he's had is failure. So yeah, I don't think he's listen, first of all, he hasn't played enough games with the Suns to really gel right with them or have things go right with them yet. And he's hurt again now. So he's barely even played with them. You think he's just magically going to gel with these guys right off the bat and everything's going to be fine? No. And then don't even get me started on the defensive problems they have. They have the same issues that the Mavericks have. They get these two guys from the Nets and they don't have better defenses. Their defense is worse because they have these guys on there. So no, I have no faith in the Suns. And you think they're going to win the championship? All right, you go ahead. I'll let you do, you can think that. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, but I think you're wrong. Van Hoot saying, how do you know Loco is bad against the Bucks when dude hasn't played a single minute against them? I know he's bad because I just know in matchups with big men, he's not a good matchup against their big men. In some ways, Giannis is too strong and quick, and in some ways, Brook Lopez is too big and too beefy and strong. Like Brook Lopez would just push him around. It's like it would look like Chet. It's like a Chet kind of thing. You know, Kenny Lofton Jr. played Chet in Summer League last year. What did he do? He backed him right the fuck down, and he just went up and laid it in. That's what Brook Lopez would do to Koloko if he had to guard him. And I have no faith in him guarding Brook Lopez. That's the problem. And all right, if he's a backup point guard, a backup center off the bench, and he's playing against their second unit, okay, he can maybe do that a little bit, but he can't go up against Brook. We need Jakob against him. And in some ways, I'd much rather if the Bucks are going to play a smaller lineup with Portis at center, with Brook out. You don't need Koloko for Portis. You can put Siakam on him like they did last night. Or, like I said, Precious playing Giannis is way more valuable than having Koloko out there running around with a Portis. So it's all like a man in, man out kind of thing. It's like I don't think you could have Precious is eating minutes where Koloko would have had them. It's just not a good matchup. In some ways, I don't like Koloko playing with a fractured nose. Let him heal. In fact, I didn't totally agree with him playing on Saturday night. It's like he literally got his nose fractured on Thursday, and he's in a mask. And I know he can play, and it's fine. It's probably safe. But in some ways, it's like I want to take extra precautions with this young man. And in some ways, I'm pissed that Koloko wasn't playing in 905 against Lakeland on Thursday and Saturday instead of being available for the Raptors. They needed him on that level so much more than the Raptors needed him on the main roster. They needed him in 905 in Mississauga, and they lost both their games. If Koloko had been there for the Lakeland Magic games, they might have won at least one of them, if not both of them. So, yeah, I'm just going by I handicap. This is what I do, Van Hoot. This is one of my strengths. From years and years of watching basketball since the 80s, I look at players. I look at their body types. I look at their style of defense and the way they play. And if the matchup is not good, I can read that. And Koloko's not a good matchup against the Bucks. Just trust me. I can tell. And maybe the reason why you haven't seen him play against them is because Nick knows that. He's a rookie. We played Milwaukee 3 times this year. Well, Koloko hasn't seen the court against them. Maybe there's a reason why. Because he realizes what I realize. Let's just say that. Mike's saying hockey like NBA scheduling back-to-backs and some 3 games in 4 nights. So hockey does do scheduling like us, and sometimes they have 3 games in 4 nights. Okay. Well, how do they deal with it? Are there any of the same issues that the NHL deals with that we deal with load management and players missing games because there's so many games jammed up together? I just don't know enough about the NHL. Van Hoot saying if football did back-to-backs, you would be playing wheelchair versus wheelchair real quick. Yeah, this is like some idiot on Twitter said, why doesn't the NFL do a best-of-7 series for the postseason? Why doesn't the NFL do best-of-7 in their rounds in the postseason? I was like, because everybody would be killed or dead because it's like such a physical sport. Yeah, this is hilarious. Van Hoot's exactly right. It would be wheelchair versus wheelchair real quick. A 7-game series in the NFL in the playoffs. That's funny. Oh, that's so funny. Also, offensive initiation equals guard depth, Raptor Freak. You need someone beyond Fred. Logic mentioned Flynn as an example. Yeah, I agree with this. I think once again, like I said, it's a perfect storm. Jeffrey, his situation, we've talked about it over and over again. Delano, broken thumb. He could have maybe done it. Scottie, he's a good backup point guard, but he's out. And like Mike has said, he said that this kind of threw everything off when Scottie got hurt. And then that meant maybe more Will Barton playing point guard, partly because Scottie's not there to do some of the point guard stuff. I mean, we're kind of like, I get what you're saying, offensive initiation. I mean, but Pascal can do some of this stuff too when he's not being selfish. So, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Fun guy saying, I think the league didn't expect this to be this bad, and they made a schedule giving contenders days of rest before facing gritty Raptors team while we're on back-to-back record bad, but we stay gritty because of defense. In some ways, they did such a good job of hitting us up and messing us up. And honestly, the Siakam injury in Dallas was really a key part of it also, that added into it all. Because in some ways, that injury, when we got Siakam hurt, there was some easier games during that time. And because we had our best offensive weapon out, we lost a lot of games that we probably would have won around that section in the fall. And that added to our overall midness of our record, too. There were good scheduled parts where we could have gotten a lot of traction and won a lot, but we were missing Siakam and other people all of a sudden, like Precious for a good chunk of the fall. OG got hurt for a little while. That really hurt us because the injuries coincided with the easier part of the schedule. So then we were still trying to win, and there were easier games where we're having a hard time because we have less of our players. So a lot of the timing of how things went wrong this season were really maximized in bad ways. Let's just put it that way. Let's see. Mo's saying, Lex, a bit off topic here. I take your word back on Morant. I did see the interview online with Jalen. They went really deep with him, but just an 8-game suspension anyway. You watched the St. Patrick's Day parade. Listen, John Morant's a good kid. He's not a bad guy. He's just got bad people around him. I can tell he's a good dude. I've seen him do such nice philanthropic things. It's just that he's caught up in a really bad, stupid kind of culture and like clique around him that kind of make him want them. They want him to be like a gangster in the gangster life. And maybe he thought it was fun and it was romanticizing it. But now he's really gotten the message that it's destructive and it's not good for his professional career. And I commend him for waking up and being intelligent enough to understand this. I think you're going to see a very different John Morant going forward, and that he is going to be cutting out all this bullshit that can ruin his career. Trust me. It really is smart. Stunted Growth, once again, a fantastic YouTube channel, Stunted Growth, which does pieces on why NBA players get their growth stunted. And the league did a preemptive John Morant piece saying this is how John Morant could stunt his growth and ruin his NBA career. And I highly recommend that YouTube channel. It's always good. I love it. They do so many different cool things. Like they did a Stunted Growth on why the Brooklyn Nets failed with their big three this year. It was absolutely fantastic. They do Stunted Growth on why the Lakers suck in the last couple years. They're very good at pointing out stuff about why players get pitfalls and they ruin their careers and what happened to them. Why did this player not work out? It's Stunted Growth. Anthony Bennett. Boom. It's there. You can go watch it. He's made it. So he has a Stunted Growth that just came out in the last week or so on John Morant and how he could just totally destroy his career if he's not careful. But he's seen the light. The NBA talked to him. He went to Florida and got rehab, and he's listened to them. And now he's getting it out of the mud. And hopefully he's cutting some of these bad people out of his life. I don't think he is totally, though. And that's the thing. He's like, that's going to be the problem, bro. You got friends that are not good for you, and you need to let them go. Even if you think you can have both still and be like holding it off, they're going to drag you down if you're not careful, because they don't have to rehabilitate themselves like you. And they may get you in trouble by association. So watch out, Ja. You might want to clean house completely. Trust me. Isaac saying, except hockey players play an average of 17 to 18 minutes and have 20-man rosters. This was a scheduled loss, especially without Scottie Barnes. Playoff redemption will feel sweet. Yeah, okay. So Isaac, giving more context to the whole NHL versus NBA back-to-back situation. They play a lot less. They have more players, a lot of different things. They're on skates. In some ways, I know that's hard work, but in some ways, running and not coasting is a lot more work. They have stats that Fred VanVleet is one of the players in the league that runs the most miles out of all the NBA players in the whole entire league. This man's distance or running up and down the court and running all over the place is very far. He's like one of the leaders for the most miles ran in an NBA season. Fred VanVleet, our captain. Yeah. Monique saying, I was bored. Jack did a good in the parade. You were bored, though. It was on his Instagram stories. The pictures are great. You go, Jack Armstrong. It's Marshal of the St. Patrick's Day Parade here in Toronto yesterday. Good stuff. And Monique got bored watching the parade. I get it. Parades can be boring. Evelyn's here. Good to see Granny Evelyn down with the bad cough. See you soon, Tom Duke. Oh, no. I don't like hearing that you have a cough, Evelyn. Please get better, especially if you're going to be around us. Ooh, I'm going to be wearing a mask if Evelyn comes sees us. No, I'm just kidding. I hope you do feel better, though, soon, very soon. Nako's saying, I think I've said it. I'd trade Malachi for a second. I'm not bad. That's not bad for me either. In some ways, that's not really getting a good return on the investment on him. But, I mean, we'll see. He is a first-round pick, and we've had 3 years of development in him. Getting just a second-round pick for him at this point, that's pretty much a letdown. But in some ways, I'll be like, yeah, let's take whatever we can get. Van Hoot saying, Raptor Freak, I was only responding to Mike. Sorry for the back and forth. I was ready to move on 30 minutes prior to that comment. Mo, it's 8 games by NBA, but that doesn't include internal punishment. Yeah, he's punishing himself, beating himself. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's all good, Van Hoot. I'm not mad at you guys. It's just sometimes Mike will railroad things into another like conversation within the conversation, and I don't like that as much. I mean, I don't mind if you guys respond to each other a little bit, but when it starts becoming like more of a dialogue between Van Hoot and Logical Raptors fanatic, it's like, I mean, go ahead and get your chat open on the outside of this and not take up so much of our whole stream's time. Is basically like this. This is supposed to be kind of like a hit the topic and move to the next one kind of thing, because I would like to kind of not go 3 hours every time. That's part of it. It's like getting more clear and concise, hitting the spots and moving on so we can get more talked about instead of just staying on one topic over again. And I don't blame you. I blame Mike. Because he should know better. You don't know. I talk to Mike about this all the time. It's part of the problem. Tom Duke is saying, let's go. You know what, Tom Duke? Let's go to the airport and get on a plane and fly here and get here in the morning tomorrow and come over here and hang out with me tomorrow on the Raptor Freak channel. It's 9:30 a.m. We're playing Tuesday trivia. Classic Jurassic Raptor Freak trivia on Tuesday. I have a classic Raptor. We're going to do trivia on it tomorrow. And Tom will be my co-host. Hopefully he gets here with no delay and no problems. We are planning for him to be here for the stream tomorrow next to me in this room. So we'll see how it goes with his travel, and we'll see if Tom's going to be the co-host of the show. Sorry, Justin, you're getting sent to Sioux Falls. Yeah. Woo. All right, let's see. Rorschach's here again. Good to see Rorschach, one of my favorite, comes in and checks in with us every once in a while. Sup, freaks? Right Fred said was so freaking awesome last night. I'm a big Fred supporter. You go, Rorschach, and share the FVV love. Look at how he cooked Giannis last night. Look at his nice little moves. I mean, listen, that man is undrafted, and that man is an MVP and most heralded golden boy in the league in some ways, and Fred cooked him. And a little short guy cooking a big guy with all the talent in the world and everything going for him. Yeah, Freddie, the underdog, showing him up with that really pretty shot. I love seeing that. Nako saying number 1 Denver, number 2 Sacramento, number 3 Suns. But I'm fickle. You think the Suns are going to get up there for like that? Listen, let me go look at that a little closer. I know, listen, no, I don't think. All right, Memphis is in a little bit of trouble. But look, they're 5.5 games above Phoenix. They're not going to get up there and catch them. They're mid right now. They're 5-5, and they have too many injuries. I'm sorry. There's like problems with all these teams. The only team that really is going good and I have any faith in is Sacramento. Seriously, they have all the best things going for them right now. Denver, we broke them. We know about that. Memphis has all kinds of internal problems with people hurt and Ja Morant. Phoenix has Kevin Durant hurt. The Clippers are not totally smooth right now. They're winning more with Russell now. But in some ways, there's still problems with the Clippers. The Mavericks, I have no faith in them whatsoever because they can't play any defense now that Kyrie's there. And there's some ways it doesn't work, Kyrie, with Luka Doncic. The Warriors are bumbling around at 500. They're not the exact same team as they were last year. The Thunder, in some ways, they're kind of interesting because SGA, look, they came into Phoenix and kicked the Suns' ass yesterday. And I love seeing that. I love seeing the leadership of SGA. We just beat them, and they turned around and they went to Phoenix and beat Phoenix on their home court. You go, Oklahoma City Thunder. If you make some noise in the playoffs without Chet Holmgren, I'll be very happy. If you have Chet Holmgren, I'm not rooting for you, though. I'll root for you without him, though. And Minnesota, we just saw them on Saturday night. Lakers, I mean, they're all mid. The only team I have any confidence in on the West is Sacramento. I think that Sacramento is maybe on the download the strongest team in the West, and their road record shows. They're the only Western team with a winning road record. So that says a lot about playoff success. Honestly, your road record can tell you about whether you'll be good in the playoffs. That's always been a good indicator historically in the NBA, that if you have a good road record, you're usually a good playoff team. And that's why I'm going to say Sacramento. Boom. I'll put them number one, Gerald. Yeah, I'll put them number one at the top. And I don't even know who to pick otherwise. Maybe I'll pick Denver second just because they're up top and they could figure things out. But I think they're broken. I think we broke them. Let's see. Mike is saying Will's made more threes than Bo this year. That's a plus in my book. It's not easy to play in our system. It's the rhythm of popping a three at a moment's notice. Some players need sets, hence the issue with threes. Is that true? That he has more threes than Juancho did in the longer time that he was on this team? That may very well be true. Well, that's interesting. That's weird. That kind of just tells me that Juancho wasn't trying to shoot him at all, and he should have been. Blackhawk saying yesterday is over. We start a new streak on Wednesday. 10 games left, and we need to get every one of them. Raptors. Yes, Blackhawk, you go. Your enthusiasm is well respected and loved. Mike is this is Monique with W Stream Lex. Let's go Raptors always, regardless of the outcome. Togetherness at all times. Keep at it, Lex. Let's keep climbing that ladder. I watched the Raptors tonight from Saturday night yesterday, and I saw all the great food as usual, and Dan Tolzman doing the interview with everybody. And I saw all of you guys in the chat, and y'all are so funny. Seymour, you are hilarious. When you come in there and say, "You saying we have a chance?" And then Tom Duke starts saying it back to you and stuff like that. Hilarious stuff, guys. I do see y'all's comments later on. And I love seeing the hashtag Raptor Freak in there. Somebody posted that too. But yeah, Monique, that was a really fun stream and really fun to hear Dan Tolzman talking about being assistant GM of the Raptors and his insight. And one of the things he said that was very interesting to me was this can be make or break for a young player. Is the people around them. Sometimes it's what the people say to the person around them. It's like very much like a Tracy McGrady or an Uncle Dennis thing. Tracy McGrady had people in his circle when he played for the Raptors start telling him that he could never get to a superstar level beside his cousin Vince Carter on the Raptors and that he needed to leave the team. Well, this is a big problem. If you have people in your entourage, you have people that are your manager, your handler, or maybe just childhood friends, or maybe just family members, people that are around you, giving you bad information about who you are in the league and stuff like that, it can really hurt your career. In fact, Dan Tolzman talked about this extensively, that he's seen young players come into this league and they may have people around them that toot their horn and push them up and say, "You're better than this. You should be starting." And they start giving them this mindset that like, yeah, I'm not getting it right. And they get selfish and they get in their own head. It's really bad for players. They can't have that kind of attitude because it'll really mess them up and they'll be out of the league quick. So you got to watch out who's around you and what they're saying to you if you're a young player in the NBA. If they're building you up in a way that's kind of like egotistical, they're like, yeah, you're owed something, get rid of them. They're going to fuck you up because they may get in your head and make you think things that aren't true and things that you don't serve you as far as becoming a good pro. I really love that Dan talked about this. And I think that this is a very much a problem in the NBA these days with young players coming in and having yes men around them that kind of tell them that what they should be getting and what they deserve. And when they don't, then they get upset. And then maybe just because this person told them that they should be upset. It's way better to have people like Gary Trent Sr. in your life. They're going to be tough with you and honest and tell you, look, son, you want to be in the NBA and you want to be a pro and have a long career, you got to listen to me. And nothing is going to just get handed to you. You got to be tough, keep your head down, and keep shooting no matter what. If you're getting the calls, getting the playing time, starting or not, Gary Trent Jr. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes the people around the player can make or break the player. So, Scottie, I hope you have a good inner circle and they're not feeding you bullshit to fluff you up and make you feel better about yourself, that you're tough on yourself and you're not buying into bullshit from people that might want to just kiss your ass. So, yeah, this is important. And I highly recommend that Raptors tonight, mostly because the first half of it was done with Dan Tolzman, and he had a really good interview. It was really funny to see everybody speculating about the food on that stream also. In some ways, the food on Raptors tonight is the star. That we see it out laid out there, the plethora of the food, it entices us. It kind of it mocks us through the television. That we wish you could eat it, wish you could have that food. That pizza looks so good, those sliders, all that kind of stuff. And while Dan was there, nobody would eat. And the people in the chat were going like, "Oh, I wonder who's going to eat first." After Dan goes away, I'm like, everybody's like, Leo's going to eat first. And of course it was Leo. Leo dug right in once Dan Tolzman got up and left the table. He just started eating. You guys were exactly right. I love that whole part of it, the food part. I think it's hilarious. And then, of course, they're celebrating Leo Routen's birthday today. He turned 66 today, y'all. Congratulations, Leo Routens, on your 66th birthday today. We love you. Raptor Freak Nation loves you, Leo Routens, because we know that you are single-handedly probably the most important person that has ever taught basketball to the nation of Canada. That your voice has been a part of Raptors broadcast since the very beginning of this franchise, and that you and Jack Armstrong and other people like you have taught this nation what the sport is and the rules and what is good basketball. And I appreciate you for that, being one of the top educators of the sport to the nation of Canada through the broadcasts over the decades. We salute you. Leo Routens, on your birthday. Happy birthday to you, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes. All right. Let's keep going. Trevor's saying the Raptors going to send somebody home. Whoever we play in the playoff, they're going to go home, and everyone's scared of us. That's why referees are doing shit to us. Yeah. We're very dangerous. We're very, very dangerous. We're not a normal playing team. We are not a normal playing team. Mike's saying NFL best of 7. W stream Lex. My bad on going on hard on the Will thing. It's all good. It is an important subject. And it is something we need to touch on and talk about. It's just maybe too much of the pie today. Jimmy's saying, go Raps. Hope everyone has a wonderful day and Raptorize your day. Woo! That's right. Let's start this week right, Raptors Nation. Let's get out there in the sunshine and just enjoy the nice day. Hopefully you get warmer and warmer, and we can get some nice weather here in Toronto, getting more spring-like. I love it. I love it. I love it. Leslie's saying, I predict an Eastern Conference chip. Celtics or Milwaukee. Ugh, I hate that. That sounds horrible to me. Either one of those, Leslie. Ugh. Can the West win this year, please? Can we just have the West win? I don't want anybody in the East win if it isn't us. Let's just put it that way. Nameless is saying that's exactly right. The mitigating circumstances for our disastrous season were exasperated in the worst ways. That's a fantastic point. It's true. It was just like really bad timing. We have injuries when we're supposed to be winning easy games. We catch Orlando Magic when they're surging up and they kick our ass 2 games in a row when they had been a horrible team the whole fucking year. Seriously, we were catching teams at the worst possible times, catching injuries at the worst possible times, losing last second shot games, losing games because the refs are fucks. You know, there's so many things that added up to why we're mid this year. So mid. So mid. Mike is saying Will has experience popping threes off another player reading the defense and dishing. It was Jokic who played read and react with Will. Okay, cool. I think Leo is 63, not 66. Oh, I'm sorry. They said something about so many sixes. So he's 63. That's right. He was saying he was 36. And that's what you do when you get older. You start flipping those numbers. Well, I'm 74. 74. No, wait, I'm 47. That's better. Leslie's saying the West just seems dysfunctional. I don't see Denver or the Suns. Yeah, they are very dysfunctional out there, and this may be true. That's why I was going through it. I was like, Sacramento's the most functional team out West right now. They really are. All right, guys, thanks for joining me today. A reaction to a tough loss to the Milwaukee Bucks, but we played them really hard. We played them really well. We can keep our heads up. And no, listen, we played the best team in the NBA, and we saw them eye to eye and gave them a good run. And in some ways, they need a little bit of help in certain areas to get that win totally. You know, I'm not saying they couldn't win against us without all that stuff, but that stuff definitely helps. Trust me. Second night of a back-to-back. Very, very having one of our players leave, the referees doing shady shit at the beginning of the fourth quarter, all that kind of stuff helps Milwaukee. But I'll give you credit. You might have beat us anyway, regardless. But still, those things against us make it much harder for us to get up that hill and climb and overcome it. So let's see. Isaac saying, I think the Clippers match up best versus other teams in the West. I wouldn't count them out. Clippers have been short of star for like 50-plus games. They have steady three-point shooting too. I just worry about them gelling. Like they don't have any long-term gelling. And in some ways, they don't always play together, Isaac. They seem like individuals out there on a team that aren't really together as a team at times. And that's the problem. I don't know if they're fully gelled consistently. They may be good, looking good at times, but sometimes they don't look like they even know each other. They look like they're strangers on the court. And that's the Achilles heel I worry about with them. Sure, if Kawhi is healthy, Paul George, Russell Westbrook, and they do have a lot of important role players that will fit a championship kind of run. Yeah, they could do it. And in some ways, I really do want the Clippers to win. But now I'm kind of pissed at Norman, too. I don't kind of necessarily want them to win either. I don't know. It's weird. Guardian saying, faced with the fourth quarter collapse again, maybe Nick should have made changes sooner again. I think he did the best of what he could. I think Scottie really hurt. That was a huge blow. And it really did mess everything up to a degree with his plan. Logical saying, Will came here to help Scottie with using Scottie as a point forward, Jokic style with shooters. I'm done talking on it. W stream. Yeah, Mike, you just won't let it go. All right, Edmund, let's go. Race Mode Daily. All right, real quick. My 3 stars for the game were Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, and Gary Trent Jr. with honorable mention to Jakob Poeltl. Yeah, just really tough. We hung with them for 3 quarters. Really, in the fourth quarter, they got away from us, and for different reasons. It's just too bad. You know, Raptors, if you want to win a game like this, you really have to be perfect. You have to execute at the end of the game, and you have to get stops. If you don't do those 2 things, it won't add up to winning, and that's a big part of it. Fortunately, we are not that far behind Atlanta still. We're only a half game behind them. But this is the thing. We have to get above them to actually pass them because they have the tiebreaker on us in the season series. So Raptors, just win these next couple of home games. We got these home games coming up. Indiana on Wednesday, Detroit, Washington, and then boom, the Miami Heat next Tuesday. These are going to be important home games to catch up on our record and hopefully be above 500 by the time we hit the road again next week. So you go Raptors. Let's get it done. And I believe in you. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me. Like, comment, share, do whatever, subscribe. I don't know. What are the other ones? Mike, you on the Will tip today. Laughing my ass off. Yeah, you won't let it go. You won't let it go. All right. Thank you, Monique. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Race Mode, everybody, Guardian, everybody, even that idiot Godfather for enriching us with trollish behavior. I appreciate y'all. I'll be back tomorrow with trivia and hopefully Tom Duke. So let's go Raptors.